like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be
ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
In Nationwide News at this hour, the police are probing the suspected suicide of a beauty queen who made several pleas for help on social media.
Operations have returned to normal at the St. Catherine Parish Court following this morning's bomb hoax.
The mother of the man shot and killed by the police in Cherry Tree Lane last week says she has been robbed of a good son.
I love him, caring, manageable person. Even if many have a conflict, he always come around. Even if he don't say mommy, he will say miserable lady.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness reaffirms Jamaica's relationship with Canada at the UN General Assembly.
Tova Hamilton placed in charge of Jamaica's tourism cruise product.
In news from the rest of the world, Barbadian judge calls for introduction of state-funded mandatory DNA testing to prevent paternity fraud.
Ukraine's president has warned the United Nations that Vladimir Putin will keep driving the war forward unless he's stopped.
In headline sports, Jamaica's national under-21 netball team to face Australia in the second round of the World Youth Netball Cup.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the tourism minister Edmund Bartlett says Jamaica is now the safest tourist destination in the Caribbean. He'll join us.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, do you feel safe on the nation's roads? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business at 6:40, several celebrities in the United States are being cancelled or fired for so-called unsavory remarks they've made about right-wing influencer Charlie Kirk following his assassination. How should we balance free speech rights in the modern era? We'll hear from retired professor of community health at the UWI, Brendan Bain, and the executive director of Equality for All Foundation, Glenroy Murray.
At 7, 3 people were shot, 2 fatally by a suspected sniper at an immigration facility in Dallas, Texas on Wednesday. You'll hear more.
We'll have all these and more as we take you home on air, on your mobile, Nationwide 90 FM, RevoNews.ai, and on the Revo News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, September 24, 2025.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The police are probing the suspected suicide of a former beauty pageant contestant, 26-year-old accountant Tyra Spalding. Miss Spalding, who was a contestant in the 2023 staging of Miss Jamaica Universe, was found hanging with a curtain wrapped around her neck. The beauty queen was an advocate for mental health and suicide prevention. We warn our listeners and viewers, the details of this story may be distressing. Discretion is advised. Robian Williams reports.
Miss Spalding's body was reportedly found by relatives sometime Tuesday night. The police's corporate communication network, CCN, confirmed they've launched a probe when contacted by Nationwide News. Friends and colleagues had expressed concerns about Spalding in recent weeks, following a series of troubling posts on her social media pages. In an August 15 Instagram post seen by our news center, Spalding wrote that she was going through hell. A separate video posted on her YouTube channel just 2 weeks ago was titled, "Don't Be Sad." 30 seconds into that video, she said, quote, "I'm fighting for my life. My mind is trying to kill me." End quote. She goes on to say every day she wakes, she has different suicidal thoughts. Spalding told her social media audience she didn't want to have suicidal thoughts, but she felt ending her life would be easier than continuing to live. She says, "It's like there are two different me's. One of them wants me to live and one of them wants me to die." Among other interests, Spalding was a mental health advocate. She was also an advocate for suicide prevention. The topic of suicide has been brought to national attention in recent days with a series of incidents involving schoolboys. In August, there were reports of men committing suicide across the country. There was also a suspected incident of suicide involving a member of the LGBTQ+ community. According to a February 2025 report in the Jamaica Observer, the number of suicide deaths has increased 4 consecutive years since 2021, climbing to 67 in 2024. That's the highest since 2001, when 75 people took their own lives. Over the 2021 to 2024 period, men accounted for 217 suicide deaths, more than 8 times more than women. The Observer was citing statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. If you or anyone you know is struggling with suicidal thoughts, immediate support is available through the Safe Spot initiative at 888-723-3776 or via WhatsApp at 876-439-5199. The CPFSA Child Protection Hotline can be accessed at 211. The Health Ministry's Mental Health and Suicide Prevention Helpline is 888-NEW LIFE, and the You Matter chat line is available at 876-838-4897. Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, consulting psychologist Dr. Liakim Samaj is urging persons to act with urgency if their relatives begin to express suicidal thoughts.
One of the things that when a person starts talking about it, threatening to do it, take it seriously. Whenever somebody starts talking about suicide, clearly, at least for the next 24 hours, you don't leave them alone. Also, if there's other kind of signs without even people start giving away their things that they possess and they treasure, they start giving away, right? So those are the two kind of verbal. Any talk about suicide is to be taken seriously. One, don't leave them alone and get help.
Dr. Samaj says there are many professionals available that are equipped to care for people struggling with suicidal thoughts.
Helping mental health professional, a psychologist, psychiatrist, social worker, but many times persons will deny. It's the hardest thing to get help for them because they'll say nothing wrong with them and they will threaten tell you that is nothing is wrong with them. But at least get them to a professional who can do the kind of questioning, the kind of assessment to understand the potential for them to act on that behavior.
Dr. Liakim Samaj, consulting psychologist.
Operations have returned to normal at the St. Catherine Parish Court in Spanish Town following a bomb hoax Wednesday morning. The threat caused proceedings at the facility to be suspended and the courthouse evacuated. But following investigations, the K-9 Division and Fire Department determined that no incendiary devices were in the building. Kadish Fletcher is the Director of Client Services, Communications and Information at the Court Administration Division, CAD.
Subsequent to the temporary closure of the court building this morning, court resumed for the afternoon session after the police team indicated it was safe for court staff and members of the public to occupy the building. Most of the matters that were listed for court were dealt with. There were a few persons, however, who were given dates on which they are to return for court.
Kadish Fletcher, Director of Client Services, Communications and Information at the CAD.
The mother of the man shot and killed by the police under controversial circumstances in Cherry Tree Lane last Monday says she has been robbed of a good son. Jamar Farquharson's mother, Lafayette Powell, described her firstborn and only son as a mannerable young man.
Up to this moment, I am still cannot believe that it is my child, but I am trying my best to come to reality as time goes by, because I know that if I call this phone, I'm not going to get through.
And tell me, Miss Powell, what kind of son was Jamar?
I love him, caring, manageable person. Even if him have a conflict, he always come around. Even if he don't say, Mommy, he will say, miserable lady, was this. If he has something to give to his sisters, he will say, come around and give it.
The 22-year-old was shot and killed by the police at his home on September 15. The police say Farquharson was shot dead after he pulled a gun on them during the execution of a search warrant. Farquharson's name was not on that warrant. The police's account of events has raised doubts following the release of CCTV footage from inside the house. In the video, Farquharson opened the door and raised his hands over his head upon realizing that it was the lawmen. He was then shoved outside while at least 10 police officers entered the house and began searching. Ms. Powell says her son was not involved in wrongdoing.
And had you had any reports whatsoever, heard anything at all, that your son was involved in any kind of illegality, any kind of...
No, sir, not that I know. No. Up to this moment, I still cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Lafayette Powell, mother of Jamar Farquharson. The police high command has yet to make a public statement on the incident.
Meanwhile, Mayor of Maypen, Joel Williams, says the Jamar Farquharson he knew was a quiet and unassuming child.
I knew this young man very well. He was a toddler. His mother used to walk he and his sisters to school. The community will tell you, very quiet, rarely speak, not involved in anything untoward that any of us could speak to. He grew up very quiet, very humble. It's not often today young people pass and say good morning or good evening or good day. And this young man, that's the kind of demeanor that you get from him when you happen to meet or to pass him. That's what he exhibited.
Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness held a bilateral meeting with his Canadian counterpart Mark Carney on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly today. This is the first time Dr. Holness has met with Carney since he took office in March. Dr. Holness says Canada has played a major role in assisting Jamaica and CARICOM.
Likewise, Jamaica is looking forward to continuing the work that we have been doing with Canada. Canada is a major bilateral partner of Jamaica, and we have shared history, Commonwealth, and Canada has done an incredible job in supporting not just Jamaica, but CARICOM as a whole on critical matters such as Haiti, climate, and financing for development. So we look forward to continuing the work.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. For his part, Prime Minister Carney commended Holness on his leadership in the region.
Finally, me too. We've spoken and I've admired your work and your leadership across a huge range of issues, from leadership in CARICOM, leadership on climate, leadership in our bilateral relations. It's one of Canada's most important relationships, and I'm looking forward to further strengthening it.
That's Mark Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada.
The Parliament of Jamaica will host an official orientation for new members of the House of Representatives at Gordon House next Tuesday. That's September 30. Leader of Government Business in the House, Floyd Green, says the orientation will provide members with an overview of the operations of Parliament.
For our new members, orientation is really about laying the groundwork for their service. They are stepping into Parliament at a critical time for Jamaica, and it's important they have the tools, knowledge, and support to really hit the ground running. Our process will ensure that they can provide the most effective representation and also that they appreciate their roles as legislators. We are also in the process of finalizing membership of our select sessional committees of the House in a bid to ensure that by the first sitting of the House, committees can be established and can start their work immediately.
Floyd Green, Leader of Government Business in the House of Representatives. The orientation session will include presentations from the clerk, the marshal, and representatives of key departments such as Human Resources, Accounts, the Legal Counsel's Office, and Communications.
You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
It's IQ Optical's sizzling summer sale. For this month only, get 50% off lenses when you purchase a frame. Kids get free lenses with a purchase of a frame. Make the intelligent choice with IQ Optical. Conditions apply. The time by IQ Optical is...
It's 14 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial offers air purification solutions with triple filtration and unique auto-sensing capabilities that neutralizes malodor and replaces it with clean air. Call Rentokil Initial at 926-4236 for more details.
The temperature by Rentokil is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston and Montego Bay.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from the daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. Enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle in Ocho Rios from $299 per night. Take advantage of this offer today by calling Couples Resorts at 876-632-8200. Conditions apply.
Continuing the news, State Minister of Tourism Tova Hamilton has been tasked with overseeing and improving Jamaica's cruise shipping product. Along with her assignment to oversee cruise, the State Minister has also been named the lead on legislation relating to what the Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says is a local-first vision for the sector.
Just for the record, she will begin with a focus on cruise tourism and the legal, regulatory, and legislative arrangements for tourism, looking heavily at tourism ethics, destination assurance, and all those elements that enable us to have a framework for meaningful interaction between visitors and locals alike. And finally, in that area, to work with us to build out the framework for our new concept of local first, which is to enable the supply side of tourism to be fully embraced by Jamaicans first. It's a very significant development in the strategy forward for tourism in Jamaica.
Minister Bartlett announced Hamilton's focus during a media briefing on the second day of the Jamaica Product Exchange, JPEX 2025 in Montego Bay, St. James. Local First is aimed at ensuring Jamaica's tourism industry is more beneficial to local players. The State Minister is now serving her second term as the Member of Parliament for North Trelawney, home to Falmouth and the country's most important port for cruise tourism. Minister Hamilton says her experience as a practicing attorney, coupled with her understanding of the industry, will assist in driving the cruise product to further growth.
So cruise, I mentioned just now that the first thing I'll be doing in the next few weeks is engaging with the stakeholders within cruise, learning who the players are, understanding what some of the issues are within cruise. I mean, I can speak locally for Falmouth. I know what our issues are. Our issue is the onshore experience. And so if we are able to tackle that, develop and grow that area, we will have a lot more people being involved and we'll stimulate the local economy somewhat. So I am here to learn. I want to identify what some of the low-hanging fruits are that we can address quickly, and then we can tackle those other long-term ones.
Tova Hamilton, the State Minister of Tourism.
The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, will expand its routes from Halfway Tree to Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, Mandeville, and Negril under the Rural Express service. The expanded routes will come on stream starting October 1. The company announced the update on its social media pages on Tuesday. It follows the previous expansion from downtown Kingston to Mandeville, which was launched in July. The JUTC says the fare will cost $2,000 per trip for each route. It says the expansion forms part of its efforts to provide more affordable, comfortable, and reliable services to Jamaicans. The 4 new routes represents the fulfillment of a promise from Transport Minister Darrell Vaz.
The JUTC will be introducing several new inter-parish routes, offering premium travel on long-haul direct routes from Halfway Tree Centre to Negril, Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, Port Antonio, Mandeville with minimal stops. Just 1 or 2 per trip at an introductory fare of $2,000. We'll be doing Montego Bay to Savlamar, Lucy to Negril, Montego Bay to Cornwall Courts, Green Pond, Montego Bay to Lucy, and other upcoming routes in the pipeline, Savlamar to White House, and Falmouth to Wakefield. Everywhere them go, you see bus after bus.
Darrell Vaz, Minister of Transport.
Counsellors are being deployed to the schools of the students injured in the motor vehicle crash on Gordontown Road, St. Andrew, yesterday. That's the word from Parliamentary Secretary in the Education Ministry, Marlon Morgan.
The ministry is going to be deploying a team of counsellors and usual support that we would dispatch to our schools to engage with the stakeholders tomorrow. Obviously, the entire school community at both Louise Bennett Coverley Primary and, of course, St. Martin de Porres Primary would have been shaken up by what transpired early this afternoon. But thankfully, the ministry has capacity and will be responding effectively.
That's Marlon Morgan, Parliamentary Secretary in the Education Ministry.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute. A Barbadian judge is calling for the introduction of state-funded mandatory DNA testing in all child maintenance cases. Acting Chief Magistrate Deirdre McKenna says the move is the only way to ensure fairness, certainty, and protect men who are brought before the courts from paternity fraud. The magistrate argued that in some cases, men were being brought before the courts and required to fund and maintain children that are not their biological offspring. She says in some instances, the fathers do not find out the truth for up to a decade after the child's birth. McKenna, who hears child maintenance cases twice a week, says in order to determine if a man is the father of a child, current Barbadian law only requires that the question be asked of him. Paternity fraud, or the giving of jackets, has been raised as a serious concern in several Caribbean countries. In Jamaica, for example, recent studies indicate that 1 in every 5 Jamaican men is a victim of paternity fraud.
Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has warned the United Nations that his Russian counterpart, Vladimir Putin, will keep driving the war forward if he's not stopped. The countries have been at war since 2022. Speaking at the UN's General Assembly in New York, Zelensky said more countries would be met with Russian aggression unless allies displayed a united front. He said all nations were threatened by a global arms race as military technology advances. He added that the scale of weapons would decide who survives in the modern era of warfare. The Ukrainian leader is also calling for global rules on artificial intelligence, AI. His comments come after U.S. President Donald Trump shifted his position on the Russia-Ukraine war, saying for the first time that Ukraine would or could win back all of its land. Zelensky also criticized international institutions, suggesting that they are too weak to offer Ukraine safety guarantees. He added that stopping Russia now would be cheaper than wondering who will be the first to create a simple drone carrying a nuclear warhead.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the police are probing the suspected suicide of a beauty queen who made several pleas for help on social media.
Operations have returned to normal at the St. Catherine Parish Court following this morning's bomb threat.
The mother of the man shot and killed by the police in Cherry Tree Lane last week says she has been robbed of a good son.
I love him, scary, man as every person. He just made him have a conflict. He always come around. He just don't say, mommy, he would say, miserable lady.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness reaffirms Jamaica's relationship with Canada at the UN General Assembly.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Roby Ann Williams.
And listeners, you can find the news on our website at revonews.ai and on the Revo News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
From a single hopeful seed to your family's growing need. Nothing is out of reach, no matter how small they seem. Access Financial will always support your dreams. 25 years side by side, 25 years
Financial Services, 25 years strong.
Do it for your best life, great. Go check your HIV status, great. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it, do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life, great. Do it for your best life, great. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time, do it for your best life.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Good afternoon with your sports report. I'm Maureen Buchanan.
And I'm Alric Swaby.
Mount Pleasant Football Academy will seek to maintain their perfect record in the 2025 CONCACAF Caribbean Cup when they face Dominican Republic's O&M FC at the National Stadium on September 30th. For Mount Pleasant, the mission remains simple. One more win and they top Group A. Alric Swaby reports.
First off, a commanding 2-0 victory over Trinidad and Tobago's Central FC on Tuesday night at the Asa Crawford Stadium. The Theodore Whitmore coach side has already booked their place in the semi-final round. Goals from Raheem Edwards in the 51st minute and Siobhan March in stoppage time sealed the win, pushing the centre and base club to the top of Group A.
OEM it. That's played off nicely. Edwards shoots! And Raheem Edwards scores from Mount Pleasant. Exilu shoots, and it's in. The follow-up punched home by Siobhan Walsh. And that'll do it. It's still spotless for Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant currently lead the group with a flawless 9 points from 3 matches, scoring 5 goals and conceding none. A testament to their balanced and disciplined approach under the guidance of former Reggae Boys coach Theodore Whitmore. With the semi-final berth secured, their next goal is clear. Finish the group stage as leaders. A win against O&M FC on home soil would not only preserve their unblemished record, but also send a strong message to their regional rivals heading into the knockout stage. O&M FC, who are still in contention for a semi-final spot, will be equally motivated, setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown at the National Stadium. Alric Swaby reporting for Nationwide Sports. Now to netball, as Jamaica's national under-21 netball team are set to face another tough challenge in the quarterfinals of the World Youth Netball Cup in Gibraltar this Thursday, as they come up against one of the tournament favourites, Australia. The Australians cruised through the preliminary round, finishing top of Group B with a perfect record, 4 wins from 4 matches. Meanwhile, Jamaica secured second place in Group C after registering 2 victories and 1 loss. The Young Sunshine Girls opened their campaign with impressive wins, but stumbled against England, falling 64-33 to one of the tournament's strongest teams. Hannah Knightbridge, captain of the English team, stated that despite the disparity of the scoreline, the game was one filled with physicality.
It really was. I mean, I'm just so pleased with the girls because obviously that was really contested and physical, but I'm pleased we started out strong, meant we could get everyone on, so really pleased. I mean, it was great, especially with the slow start. I think we were very nervous coming into this game, but no, I'm really proud of the girls and how we got through it, so yeah. No, I feel great. I mean, I think we have tomorrow morning, so recovery tonight, and just, if we played like that tomorrow, I mean, I think we'll be great, so yeah. And
Hannah Knightbridge.
Now to boxing. Boxing fans are in for a night of thrills and hard-hitting action as the 6th edition of the Royal Navy Fight Night takes center stage this Saturday at the Klinkling Oval. The highly anticipated event will feature 11 amateur bouts and 2 professional showdowns. President of the Jamaica Boxing Association, Stephen Bomber Jones, says the event is proof that the sport is experiencing a passionate revival among Jamaican fans.
One thing that we know to be true is that the love affair with the Jamaican public and boxing is stronger than ever. As the past shows, every one of them has been extremely exciting. And I truly believe this one is going to be the most entertaining one to date because of the level of the boxing, the talent of the boxers that have risen, the growth of the boxers in the gyms, and there's the competition level. So I'm looking forward for a huge Saturday.
The highlight of the night will see Jamaica's own Jazeer Heron take to the ring in the final bout, a professional welterweight clash against Robert Martinez of the Dominican Republic. Jones says Heron carries the weight of a national pride as he looks to secure a major win on home soil. That's Jamaican News Sports. I'm Maureen Buchanan.
And I'm Alric Swaby.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Cubby's Baby Wipes is ideal for your baby's delicate skin, infused with vitamin E and aloe vera, and available for home or on the go. The time by Cubby's Baby Wipes is
5:30.
From Kingston to the world, from Montego Bay to new adventures, and from Ocherias to endless possibilities. Wherever you're headed, we will proudly take you there. Jamaica's airport, your global gateway. The temperature brought to you by the Airports Authority of Jamaica is
31 degrees Celsius in City Kingston and 31 in Montego Bay.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit account puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Now, PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
You want to do your thing with your queen or your king.
Or I get a little frisky that make you flex risky.
PrEP, are you extra bucketed?
To help you stay HIV negative.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV. PrEP tablets available at your clinic from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
60 years strong and just getting started. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of Jamaica proudly presents its annual business conference, the highlight of its 60th anniversary year. Join them Thursday, October 9 at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel. Hear from keynote speaker, CEO of the Jamaica Stock Exchange, Mr. Livingston Morrison, plus top industry leaders on global trade, the evolving CFO role, and AI in accounting. Don't miss it. Register by October 4 at icaj.org.
The following announcement is from the National Housing Trust. NHT contributors may apply for serviced lots located in Malvern, St. Elizabeth from Tuesday, September 30 to Wednesday, October 1. All applications must be submitted online at www.nht.gov.jm.
From a single hopeful seed to your family's growing need. Nothing is out of reach, no matter how small they seem. Access Financial will always support your dreams. 25 years side by side, 25 years of joy and pride. 25 years is quite a ride at the heart of helping you thrive.
Access Financial Services, 25 years strong.
Public opinion.
Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are a Jamaican.
Different people.
It's not a matter of a GLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Hello, and howdy to you. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you've been with us, for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And my name is Sanjay Lewis. Good afternoon to you, Ricardo, and good afternoon to our listeners. And for this afternoon, we're focusing on the tourism season, JPEX, and the winter tourist season. And Tourism Minister Ed Bartlett says Jamaica is now the safest tourist destination in the Caribbean. Mr. Bartlett made the bold claim on Tuesday during day 2 of the Jamaica Product Exchange, that's JPEX, in St. James. He says the Holness administration will build a highway connecting Negril in Westmoreland to Montego Bay in St. James.
The minister says the project is part of a move to make travel throughout the island easier for both visitors and locals alike. In the meantime, the Director of Tourism, Donovan White, is forecasting over 4.5 million tourists to the island this year. That's an 8% increase over 2024, along with an expected $4.6 billion in total earnings. Mr. White says the ambitious forecast is backed up by positive information from the country's tourism partners.
In terms of our look forward, we're being very aggressive in our forecast, and we're being aggressive because we have reason to be. All our partners, all our strategic partners have been, as I say, very excited about Jamaica. In 2025, the current year we're in, we are expecting a year-on-year increase of about 8% in terms of in terms of total arrivals. Stopover, we anticipate will get to 3.13 million. Cruise will grow to 1.38 million, which is almost 1.4 million, to give us a total arrivals of 4.5 million.
And that's Donovan White, the Director of Tourism. Mr. White is projecting upwards of 5 billion tourist visitors arrivals to the island in 2026, coupled with $5 billion in earnings. He says this growth will be driven primarily by the expected boost in airlift to the island.
JPEX 2025 provides an opportunity for foreign investors and other interests to experience the country's tourism product and its suppliers. Now, listeners, with over 160 foreign bars on the island, this year's staging is the largest since its inception in 1990. Hosted by the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association in partnership with the Tourist Board, the trade event is the single most important business generator for the country's tourism product. The Portfolio Minister, Edmund Bartlett, joins us now. Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon to you and to all of Jamaica. It's so good to share airspace with you today.
And congratulations on your reappointment to the ministry.
Thank you very much.
Let me start by asking you, what gives you the confidence to say Jamaica is the safest tourist destination in the Caribbean?
Well, the records have been very strong in that direction, in that our performance in terms of visitor safety has been enviable in the region, averaging somewhere in the region of 0.7%. It's absolutely remarkable in that context. We have nearly 5 million visitors overall, and to have that element of crime against visitors is certainly commendable.
Just recently, though, Minister, Canada issued a travel advisory for Canadians to exercise a high degree of caution due to increased levels of violent crime. Is this going contrary to your bold statement?
No. Well, you recall that the same Canadian government has issued a subsequent release retracting, so to speak, the essence of that advisory, and to point out that essentially it was editorial, but that the levels remain the same, and that Jamaica is at level 2.
And how have you been working with your Canadian partners to cauterize whatever damage that may have happened to the Jamaican brand owing to this advisory that was initially placed?
Right, so we are out there already in the marketplace and on the airwaves, and I'll be there next week after I leave Jamaica Trade Market in London, and then we'll be engaged in the media in full, and of course all our partners, just to make sure that the message that the Canadian government issued yesterday is well known, well understood, and that in fact it would negate any negative perspectives that may have ensued from the earlier release.
Minister, isn't this you tout the low levels of crime violence against tourists, but isn't it at once an indication of a good thing and a bad thing? And here's what I mean by that. isn't it because we practice this model of the all-inclusive resort? So the tourists, they don't really go outside of those walls and the amenities that are inside, and at once that's a good thing because they are protected. But that doesn't that also mean that they're not engaging enough with the local product in and around these resorts?
Well, you use the word enough, and that probably is the operative word for you. But it is an unfair comment to say that because of the all-inclusive business model, and it's a business model that is practiced here, it means that the visitors are not engaging in the wider community and its activities. Jamaica has more attractions than all the Caribbean combined. And these attractions are very well supported by visitors to the country on a daily basis. And those attractions are not in the hotels. They are out at Duns River, they are at Choco, they are all over the island. They are at YS Falls, they are Black River Safari, you name them. So it is really a little unfair for it to be noised abroad and said with some level of certainty by many that the all-inclusive model is derogating from the involvement of people in the wider communities, and that is very unfair as it is untrue.
So I hear you on that, Minister.
And it is to be understood really that the all-inclusive is a business model.
Yes.
And what it does is to indicate that people would pay for the totality of their experiences before they come to the country. And these experiences are not inclusive of hotels only. It is inclusive of all the activities that they do across the island, inclusive of car rentals, as well as payments for transfers by Juta, JCAL, and the other transfer agencies in the ground transportation subsector.
In posing the question, you latched on to the use of the word enough, and you said it was operative. And I want to just follow up on that a little bit more, because it sounded to me that you were saying that you appreciate that there is more, whatever the degree is, more that can be done to ensure that the local players benefit. And I see pushing a local first initiative. Talk to us now about how we get there.
Right, so this is the whole point. So now the supply side of tourism is the side that, in my mind, has the greatest potential for wealth creation and for wealth retention in the destinations. The propensity to consume of the tourists is 3 to 5 times that of the local. And so build products and services around the consumption pattern is what enables the wealth to stay in the country. But more importantly, that these attractions, these services, these experiences must be local. They must essentially originate from our people, owned by our people, and supported financially, if possible, by our people. And that's the surest way to enable the full retention of the wealth of tourism in our space. So we recognize that there have been some challenges in that department. Challenges in relation to capacity, as well as to sometimes an appreciation of what needs to be done. And we now must take the initiative to not just educate, but to build the capacity and to enable more and more and more of Jamaicans to be inserted in the very rich and elongated value chain of tourism.
If I could just stay with that for a little while longer, Minister, because we've been practicing, you call it a business model, the all-inclusive model, for a while now. And why is it at this stage we're just now recognizing or pushing the argument that we need to, for example, build capacity?
Well, let me say this, that perhaps we are a little short in time in doing it, and we probably should have done it long ago with the kind of energy that I'm talking now. But I began pushing this from 2010. If you recall my budget speech in 2010, just after I commissioned a study, a demand study to be done, and it was carried through by Dr. Sinha, who was sponsored by the Commonwealth Secretariat. And that was to examine what are the elements of demand that tourism drives within the economy. Agriculture, manufacturing, services of various types, as well as entertainment and so on. So the varied areas of experiential tourism that respond to people's demand and speaks to the profiles of the market, what we call the psychographic profiles of the market. And so from then, we started to look at it, and that's how the Linkages Network was actually born, and that's why on my second iteration as minister, I established the fund of $1 billion at Exim Bank to lend to small players to build capacity, to enable them to be able to supply more to the industry. But what really has emerged is the growth of the industry, which has been exponential in our time, and that growth has caused the demand to escalate far beyond capacities around us to supply, as a result of which we've been getting far more of that supply coming external to Jamaica. Mm-hmm. But what has happened is we now are at what we call the critical mass level. That is where 3 million stopover arrivals are here. It means the ratio of stopover arrival to the population is 1-to-1. At that point, it triggers international attention. And so there is now a flood of participants in the supply side. And we want to make sure that that flood does not overwhelm our local population. And so this is why we're pushing harder now to establish a policy in relation to building local capacity to drive the demand that tourism offers.
We're up on a break, Minister. We're talking to the Tourism Minister. After the break, I want to follow up now on the specifics to ensure that we get out of, and this is not my word now, the exploitative nature of this all-inclusive model. After the break.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:46.
Birdshot fried chicken always ready. Birdshot, original crispy. Birdshot, Cajun spicy. Birdshot, a barbecue. Birdshot, we are go a Birdshot.
The temperature brought to you by Birdshot Fried Chicken in Montego Bay and Ocho Rios is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. It's also 30 in the resort town of Ocho Rios.
Enough power tool, big to small. Chaka my figure dig the wall.
Upper Total Tools.
Beat waka figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand.
Total Tools.
We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When I say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, St. Anne's Bay. Call us today.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
Thanks for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. My name is Sanjay Lois. My co-host is Ricardo Brooks. And we're speaking with the Minister of Tourism, Edmund Bartlett. And Minister, just before the break, we're talking about the all-inclusive model. And even, Minister, when you have individuals visiting these attractions, many have said that the dollar is not spent with the locals because these individuals, they book their tours within the all-inclusive, and it's all done and package and everything is done within the all-inclusive. How do you respond to those individuals who will say they're not benefiting from it? The average man is not benefiting enough.
Well, I make the point often, and before I even comment on what you said, the closing statement from, I'm not sure if it's you, that said, not my word, but the exploitive nature of the all-inclusive model. And I want to clarify that thinking with facts, because the model is not exploitive. What can happen is people can exploit the model by way of what they do and how they do it. But the model simply enables a visitor to have a greater convenience in that he can pay for all the experiences that he wishes to consume in the destination before he gets there. And those experiences can be anywhere and all across the country, including buying pudding from the pudding man at Prairie, which they have done. And the Prairie pudding man gets his check from the hotels in relation to the purchases that were made. And we could go on and on and on to the various other areas. So, the extent to which we are able to market what we have and to present it before these visitors ahead of their arriving here is a function of how much purchases we will get. And so this is part of what Local First will seek to do. It will seek to do three things. One is to train, develop, and build capacity. Secondly, it will assist in providing capital and support to create a conversion of good ideas into material goods and services that the industry needs. And thirdly, it will provide a marketing platform to enable the world to know and understand what is available, what is possible, and price, availability of supplies, quantities, reliability, and so on. It will also establish the framework for long-term contracts between suppliers, local suppliers, and hoteliers and other stakeholders. So what we're looking at is a new formula as to how to fully engage our people in the tourism value chain. And so I'm the first to accept that we have been missing the boat in that direction for a long time. But the change has to come, and we are now at that point where we have not just the political will, but the capacity in many areas to make the difference, and we're going to be making it.
And Minister, your Director of Tourism is projecting 4.5 million arrivals this year. How are you going to achieve that, given robust competition from the Dominican Republic especially and Mexico?
No, but the projection is not based on a wish. It's based already that for the year so far, we are well over 3 million visitors. So for the other 4 months of the year, to achieve another million plus between cruise and stopover is very much within our grasp. And you know that is in line with our KPIs that we established 5 years ago, that we would make 5 million visitors, earn $5 billion in the 5-year period. Now, that period has been interrupted, of course, by COVID, as you know, which we lost nearly 2 years, and then Beryl, the hurricane. And notwithstanding that, we are looking at 4.5 million visitors and $4.6 billion in earnings. Now, if you round it up to the even numbers, 5 by 5 by 5. So the industry, and I'm very grateful to the players and all of our actors who have come together to make this happen and to achieve the KPI of 5 by 5 by 5.
Let me just follow up on that point Sanjay made, Minister, because the point about the competition from the DOMREP and Mexico is a real one. When we talk about sustainability then of the local tourism product in light of that competition, how do we sustain ourselves and the market?
Well, we are accustomed to competition. That's what we do in tourism. More recently, I've been trying to get something called competition to be the order of the day, where we compete rather than compete. But we still have competition around, and our big market competitors are the Dominican Republic and Mexico. And we have grown, and our growth is in line with the top growth of tourism destinations across the world. And so we're not fearing that level of competition, because we have doubled our arrivals in the last 4 years. We have doubled. I mean, we went to actually zero, as you remember. We have moved from that zero to 4.5 million visitors now. That's tremendous performance, if I'm allowed to say so humbly. And so that does not mean that, we're doing the greatest that we could ever do, but we certainly are doing better than our competition.
The thing though, Minister, if you look at the stats, you will see that the DR and Mexico, they continue to attract far more visitors with lower prices and larger investments. So it goes right back to the question that Ricardo asked, the sustainability of our tourism model when matched against the DR and Mexico.
No, we're missing the point there. Mexico has 120,000 rooms. Jamaica has 35,000. Domrep has 75,000 rooms. So we are not measuring here like with like. And you must bear in mind that the function of visitor numbers, right, is in relation to the number of rooms that you have available. So our performance with our number of rooms is significantly better than our competition. And I think that has to be appreciated.
Tova Hamilton, you've given her responsibility for the cruise product. Talk to us a little bit about what's her brief.
Well, she will be responsible, as I indicated, for cruise tourism, which is very strong. She'll also have responsibility for airlift arrangements and will be totally responsible for JAMRAC, that department which deals with cruise and airlift. Her skills as a lawyer will enable her to help us greatly in developing the legislative and regulatory arrangements for tourism. There's so many other areas that we have to look at now. We are reviewing the JTD Act. She will have responsibility to complete that review for us. We're looking at destination assurance, which is the whole area of ensuring the safety, security, and seamlessness of visitors by way of the experiences that they have in the country. And within the frame of that is a need for serious discussions now on tourism ethics and the responsibility of visitors as visitors and the responsibility of guests, management as management, and then workers as workers. So this is a whole new area of emphasis that we're going to be having, so that the principle of human rights within the tourism sector is understood, that everybody comes with rights and have responsibilities, and we must carry that through. And the whole question of the regulations relating to activities within the sector and the issue of enforcement, as well as the whole issues of creating the framework to enable seamlessness in the provision of licenses and the turnaround time for licenses and so on. So all of these are critical areas, and that she will have responsibility to work to enable and to plan this trip. And finally, she's going to chair the task force on the local first policy that we're developing, and that one is a big one for her.
What about the short-term rentals, Minister? You're still staying away from regulation, because I know the traditional hoteliers, they're arguing that the unregulated short-term rentals like Airbnb, they create unfair competition.
Well, look, my take on the matter is that destination is short.
Minister? No.
All activities.
Sorry, Minister, we lost you just now. Could you just repeat that for us?
All right. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, hearing you now.
Yes.
Right. So my take on the matter is that on developing the policy around destination assurance. We are bringing all areas of tourism activity under the scrutiny, the regulations to enable the integrity of the destination to be assured and secured. We make a promise in the market that you will have a safe, secure, and seamless experience in Jamaica. And we don't want anyone to second guess the integrity of that promise. And therefore, it is important for us, therefore, to have a framework within which that can be appreciated and achieved, in fact. And so we are not regulating to contain, restrain, or in any way negate. We are regulating to create greater efficiencies and to protect the integrity of Jamaica.
Minister, final one for me. You are just under 10 years now as the tourism minister since 2016. You have a new state minister. Is it your intention to complete this parliamentary term in this cabinet position?
First of all, you're getting your numbers a little out of line for the last few engagements, and I worry about it. It's not 10 years. I am now 14 years.
No, I mean since 2016. So I know obviously you would have served before. But I was going back to 2016. But yes, we are aware that you did serve as tourism minister in the Golding administration.
And you know, we work as minister. I work at the behest of my prime minister, and I'm always willing to give the service as my health and my capacity allows. So within the frame of all of this, however, I recognize that there's a timeline for everything. And we have worked very hard in the industry. We've built new areas. We are looking at new areas for the future. In fact, I'm establishing, as you have heard already, new KPIs for the industry over the next 5 years. So I intend to complete my work, and when I'm finished with that completion, then I would have trained and built capacity to embrace and carry through the work to high heights and greater depths. So I'm excited about saying to you that yes, this will be my last full term, but I want it to be understood that I have a job to do, and we're going to finish that job. And when we finish, we're going to pass on to the next generation of those who will do better than we have done.
Edmund Bartlett, and for the record, he served as tourism minister from 2007 to 2011 under Bruce Golding, and he has been the tourism minister since February 2016 under Andrew Holness. Thank you so much for your time, Minister. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Minister.
Bless you.
All right. The headlines are next.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
3 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. The police are probing the suspected suicide of former beauty pageant contestant, 26-year-old accountant Tyra Spalding. Spalding, who was a contestant in the 2023 staging of Miss Jamaica Universe, was found hanging with a curtain wrapped around her neck. Friends and colleagues had expressed concerns about Spalding in recent weeks, following a series of troubling posts on her social media pages. Meanwhile, consulting psychologist Dr. Lakim Samaj is urging people to act with urgency if their relatives begin to express suicidal thoughts.
One of the things that when a person starts talking about it, threatening to do it, take it seriously. Whenever somebody starts talking about suicide, clearly, at least for the next 24 hours, you don't leave them alone. Also, if there's other kind of signs without even people start giving away their things that they possess and they treasure, they start giving away, right? So those are the two kind of verbal, and the talk about suicide is to be taken seriously. One, don't leave them alone, and get help.
Dr. Semaj says there are many professionals available that are equipped to care for people struggling with suicidal thoughts.
Mental health professional, a psychologist, psychiatrist, social worker, but many times persons will deny. It's the hardest thing to get help for them because they'll say nothing wrong with them and they will threaten and tell you that nothing is wrong with them. But at least get them to a professional who can do the kind of questioning, the kind of assessment to understand the potential for them to act on that behavior.
Dr. Leakim Semaj, consulting psychologist. The mother of the man shot and killed by the police under controversial circumstances in Territory Lane, Clarendon last Monday, says she's been robbed of a good son. Jamar Farquharson's mother, Lafayette Powell, described her firstborn and only son as a mannerable young man.
Up to this moment, I am still cannot believe that it is my child, but I am trying my best to come to reality as time goes by, because I know that if I call his phone, I'm not going to get through.
And tell me, Miss Powell, what kind of son was Jamar?
I love him, caring, manageable person. Even if my name have a conflict, he always come around. Even if he don't say, Mommy, he will say, miserable lady, was this. If he has something to give to his sisters, he will say, come around and give it.
The police say Farquharson was shot dead after he pulled a gun on them during the execution of a search warrant. Farquharson's name was not on the warrant. The police's account of events has raised doubts following the release of CCTV footage from inside the house. Ms. Powell says her son was not involved in wrongdoing.
And had you had any reports whatsoever, heard anything at all, that your son was involved in any kind of illegality, any kind of...
No, sir, not that I know. No. Mm-hmm. Up to this moment, I still cannot believe what I'm hearing.
Lafayette Powell, mother of Jamar Farquharson. Meanwhile, Mayor of Maypen, Joel Williams, says the Jamar Farquharson he knew was a quiet and unassuming child.
I knew this young man very well. He was a toddler. His mother used to walk he and his sisters to school. The community will tell you, very quiet, rarely speak, not involved in anything untoward that any of us could speak to. He grew up very quiet, very humble. It's not often today young people pass and say good morning or good evening or good day. And this young man, that's the kind of demeanor that you get from him when you happen to meet or to pass him. That's what he exhibited.
Joel Williams, Mayor of Maypen. The Parliament of Jamaica will host an official orientation for new members of the House of Representatives at Gordon House next Tuesday, September 30. Leader of Government Business in the House, Floyd Green, says the orientation will provide members with an overview of the operations of Parliament.
For our new members, orientation is really about laying the groundwork for their service. They are stepping into Parliament at a critical time for Jamaica, and it's important they have the tools, knowledge, and support to really hit the ground running. Our process will ensure that they can provide the most effective representation and also that they appreciate their roles as legislators. We are also in the process of finalizing membership of our select sessional committees of the House in a bid to ensure that by the first sitting of the House, the committees can be established and can start their work immediately.
Floyd Green, Leader of Government Business in the House of Representatives. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, is a financial reporting firm that delivers accounting and compliance services on time. Call us today at 876-908-0486-7. Email us at clientservices@cocnjamaica.com or visit our website at www.cocnjamaica.com. COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowners Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
The following announcement is from the National Housing Trust. NHT contributors may apply for serviced lots located in Malvern, St. Elizabeth from Tuesday, September 30 to Wednesday, October 1. All applications must be submitted online at www.nht.gov.jm.
Afternoon with your sports report. I'm Oreen Buchanan.
And I'm Alex Swaby.
Mount Pleasant Football Academy will seek to maintain their perfect record in the 2025 CONCACAF Caribbean Cup when they face Dominican Republic's O&M FC at the National Stadium on September 30. For Mount Pleasant, the mission remains simple. One more win and they top Group A. Alex Swaby reports.
First off, a commanding 2-0 victory over Trinidad and Tobago's Central FC on Tuesday night at the Asa Crawford Stadium. The Theodore Whitmore coach side has already booked their place in the semi-final round. Goals from Raheem Edwards in the 51st minute and Siobhan March in stoppage time sealed the win, pushing the Centre-based club to the top of Group A.
Oh, yeah, mate. That's played off nicely. Edwards shoots! And Raheem Edwards scores from Mount Pleasant! Exilu shoots! And it's in! The follow-up punched home by Siobhan Walsh. And that'll do it. It's still spotless for Mount Pleasant.
Mount Pleasant currently lead the group with a flawless 9 points from 3 matches, scoring 5 goals and conceding none, a testament to their balanced and disciplined approach under the guidance of former Reggae Boys coach Theodore Whitmore. With the semi-final berth secured, their next goal is clear: finish the group stage as leaders. A win against O&M FC on home soil would not only preserve their unblemished record, but also send a strong message to their regional rivals heading into the knockout stage. O&M FC, who are still in contention for a semi-final spot, will be equally motivated, setting the stage for a high-stakes showdown at the National Stadium. Alex Swaby reporting for Nationwide Sports.
Now, Greenpond High School has received a $5,000 boost to its football program thanks to a donation from businessman, philanthropist and football administrator Omar McFarlane. The check handover marked a major investment in the school's sports development. McFarlane says the funds are earmarked to support several areas that are essential to strengthen the growth of young players.
The donation, my aim and my hope is that it will support the grassroots football. It will enhance the current football at Greenpond High School. It will help with nutrition. It will help with meals. It will help with equipment. Everything to do with football and enhancing the program, and not only for just this year, but for the next year.
He says this is the start of a journey to enhance football at the school.
Will not be a one-time donation. This is the start of a journey and enhancing football, whether at the schoolboy level or the community level or the parish level. It's a long-term commitment, and I envision making donations of this sort in other community schools and parishes.
Omar McFarlane.
Jamaica's national under-21 netball team are set to face another tough challenge in the quarterfinals of the the Netball Youth World Cup in Gibraltar this Thursday as they come up against one of the tournament pre-favourites, Australia. The Australians cruised through the preliminary round, finishing top of Group B with a perfect record, 4 wins from 4 matches. Meanwhile, Jamaica secured second place in Group C after registering 2 victories and a loss. The Young Sunshine Girls opened their campaign with an impressive win over Tonga and Wales, but lost their next game against England. Hannah Knightbridge, captain of the English team, stated that despite the disparity of the scoreline, the game was one filled with physicality.
It really was. I mean, I'm just so pleased with the girls because obviously that was really contested and physical, but at least we started out strong, meant we could get everyone on, so really pleased. I mean, it was great, especially with the slow start. I think we were very nervous coming into this game, but no, I'm really proud of the girls and how we got through it, so yeah. No, I feel great. I mean, I think we have tomorrow morning, so recovery tonight, and just if we play like that tomorrow, I mean, I think we'll be great, so yeah. And
Hannah Knightbridge.
Now, boxing fans are in for a night of hard-hitting action as the 6th edition of the Royal Navy Fight Night takes center stage this Saturday at the Klinkling Oval. The highly anticipated event will feature 11 amateur bouts and 2 professional showdowns. President of the Jamaica Boxing Association, Stephen Bomber Jones, says the event is proof that the sport is experiencing a passionate revival among Jamaican fans.
One thing that we know to be true is that the love affair with the Jamaican public and boxing is stronger than ever. As the past shows, every one of them has been extremely exciting, and I truly believe this one is going to be the most entertaining one to date because of the level of the boxing, the talent of the boxers that have risen, the growth of the boxers in the gyms, and there's the competition level. So I'm looking forward for a huge Saturday.
The highlight of the night will see Jamaica's own Jazir Heron takes to the ring in the final bout, a professional welterweight clash against Robert Martinez of the Dominican Republic. Jones says Heron carries the weight of national pride as he looks to secure a major win on home soil.
We need boxers that can say, okay, on the professional level, they are going to be the ones that are going to be the next Axman or the next Mike McCallum. And what Jazir Heron has been doing, he has been saying, I'm willing if you give us the platform. So with that, he's leading by the charge and showing that he's disciplined, showing that he's ambitious, and I've seen his talent. So come Saturday, if he does what we expect him to do and win in a spectacular fashion, I think it won't be more than one more fight after that where he becomes a household name.
Stephen Bomber Jones.
Running events Jamaica's Blue Run 2025 saw a record-breaking 2,934 finishers and 3,990 registration on September 21st as Jamaicans filled Emancipation Park in solidarity for the fight against prostate cancer. Powered by The Guardian Live, the run, which saw 1,273 men and 1,661 women crossing the finish line, continues to grow each year, spreading awareness about early detection. The Blue Run is also part of the Ministry of Health and Wellness Corporate Wellness Challenge, promoting workplace wellness and healthy living across the island.
The stage is set for an exciting showdown as the Grand Spend Giants face the Exeter Eats in Game 1 of the best-of-3 finals in the GK1 Howard McCarthy Community Basketball League on Thursday at the Stadium Courts. The Giants punched their ticket to the final after a hard-fought 80-70 victory over the Edgewater Wolverines in Game 3 of their semi-final series on Tuesday night. The win secured the series 2-1 in favor of the Giants, who bounced back strongly after dropping Game 1. Demaria Jackson led the scoring for the Giants with a standout performance, pouring in 23 points, while Malik Anderson dominated the paint with 17 points and an impressive 21 rebounds, powering the Giants on both ends of the court. The Exeter Eats, who secured their spot in the final earlier, now await the informed Giants for what promises to be a high-energy clash between two of the league's most competitive squads.
Former German tennis player Boris Becker, in his soon-to-be-released memoir, Winning, Losing and Starting Again, explained that he regrets winning Wimbledon at the age of 17. In 1985, an unseeded Becker defeated Kevin Corrin to lift the title, which has kept him as the youngest player to win the title to this day.
Not healthy winning Wimbledon 17 in hindsight. I'd rather would have won later, maybe more often. I was in semi-finals, I lost 4. Winning at 17 couldn't have been healthy. I mean, there was no normal way out of this. I know that today.
Widely regarded as one of the best of his generation, Becker went on to win additional Grand Slam titles, inclusive of 2 Wimbledon titles. Back in 2023, Becker was sentenced to 8 months in prison for hiding £2.5 million of assets and loans in a bankruptcy fraud case. He further suggested in his memoir that throughout his time on the court, he was fearless.
I've never had an issue dealing with pressure. I have my ways about it. Some people call me a little crazy, but it's fine. I never had an issue with that. It's more other people had an issue with me, how I was. and maybe how I am, is, you put me, you throw me into the jungle of Brazil, you throw me into HMB Wandsworth, I will come out alive.
Boris Becker.
On the lighter side of sports, all roads lead to the semifinals of the nationwide quiz this Thursday, where defending champion Robian Williams will take on Ricardo Brooks and George Davis in what is shaping up to be a fiery showdown. The trio are all expressing confidence. Orin Buchanan tells us more.
The first round delivered drama and upsets as Williams overcame Tawna Thomas to secure her place in the second round. Considered the underdog with odds of 8-1, Williams is unfazed by her doubters.
I am always and I will always be a true champion because I am the defending champion. We won last year, Cliff and myself won last year, and there is no doubt that I will win. There is no doubt. I mean, Ricardo is using age as a factor, and George too is pulling experience. But the underdog will show up tomorrow, and I will be the champion.
Ricardo Brooks earned his spot by edging out Saeed Bernard in a tightly contested bout. Speaking confidently ahead of Thursday's clash, Brooks dismissed Williams' chances and focused his attention on George Davis.
I think composure is going to win the day, and if we look at all we've seen in the preliminary rounds, any fair assessment would tell you that Ricardo Brooks has been the most composed. George Davis, in the first round of his encounter with Sondre, was under pressure, pinned down under pressure. Nobody expected that. Sondre shouldn't have been within striking distance of George at all. It shows you that he doesn't have the composure, he doesn't have the mental space to hold the line when pressure is applied, and I intend to apply the pressure in the semifinals. And so when the dust settles, come Friday, I'll be in the finals. Ruben is a trusted colleague. She's a nice girl. She has a lot going for her, but she's not going to make the finals.
Davis, who dispatched Roden in the preliminaries, dropped a bombshell hint that he may withdraw from the competition.
Were I playing, I think the CPFSA would want to have words with me after the contest because they're going to ask me why is it that I abused the children in that matter. Both Robian and Ricardo are taking up a challenge that is beyond their capacity at this time. And the minor placings, the battle for second and third and last is going to be interesting. But there's only one winner, one judge, never few.
Though he has not confirmed the reason, speculation is swirling about scheduling conflicts. However, Brooks isn't buying that story.
The truth is George is running scared. That's what he doesn't want to tell you.
Should Davis step aside, it could drastically reshape the dynamics of the final. But with or without him, fans are promised a thrilling end to this year's edition of the Nationwide Quiz, with sparks already flying off the stage. Orin Buchanan for Nationwide Sports.
I'm Alrix Rebe.
I'm Orin Buchanan. That's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:22.
Big news, Jamaica. September 22nd to 27th is the week to shop. The Everything Home Sale is happening at Active Home Center. Enjoy up to 40% off selected furniture, from sofas to beds and dining sets designed to refresh your space. Plus, choose from over 800 tiles with exciting new arrivals. Don't miss store-wide savings on bathrooms, windows, doors, and more. Just 6 days only in Kingston and Montego Bay. Active Home Center, more savings, more choices.
Already have a T-Tag for your vehicle? Just top it up and go through. Now you can see funds in your T-Tag account almost immediately after topping up. So, if you're already on your journey, you can safely pull off the road and top up using the My T-Tag app or WhatsApp, or ask your passenger to do it for you. And within 5 to 10 minutes, you can enjoy the lower toll rates and other benefits of the T-Tag link, even if you forget to top up before you started your trip. Top up your T-Tag and continue to go through quicker and cheaper on Transjam highways.
Do it for your best life, do it. Go check your HIV status, do it. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it, do it for you, do it for you. Every time you a link with a condom, coulda husband, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life, do it for your best life, do it. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time, do it for your best life.
Taboo topics. Voyagings after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between. Voyagings after dark with Kareem Voyagings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Voyagings after dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Voyagings after dark.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Marlon Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Robian Williams. A special good evening to our friends on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for tuning in. We invite you to weigh in live in the comments section on today's Public Opinion. We're turning our attention to the nation's roads and what's been happening in terms of road fatalities and the amount of accidents we've seen in recent weeks. Almost 20 students were injured in a crash and they were treated at hospital. They were from Louise Bennett Coverley Primary School and St. Martin de Porres Primary and Infant School, both in Gordon Town. Now, though that was preliminary reports indicate that the vehicle in which they were traveling, a white Toyota Hiace, it developed mechanical issues. Though that was mechanical issues, and thankfully there were no fatalities. We're turning our attention and we're trying to understand, for you, the people who traverse the roads on a daily basis, motorists, pedestrians alike, do you feel safe on the nation's roads? That's the public opinion question for this evening. And I'm going to start off with the comments on our Facebook platform, where Judith Thorpe is saying, the only place you can be safe is in the arms of our Maker, not on the roads. Fabian Lewis saying, this must be a trick question. When driving, I have to be driving for me and the idiots that are driving alongside or past me. Yeah, totally can relate to that one. Michelle Bernard is saying, the roads are harmless. I'm afraid of the ignorant and inexperienced drivers. Yeah. Natalie Winter is saying, it definitely depends on where I am and with whom, and moreover, what time of the day or night. Let me see. Philip Jackson is saying, in his view, the nation's road contribute very little, if any, when it comes to accidents. If those who use our roads, they are the problem. Those who use our roads, they are the problem. Reckless, careless, and dangerous. No amount of road signs and other form of information can help if safe driving is not practiced. As you talk about signs and so, I don't know if some people know the road code. I don't think them did read a little red book there. Because sometimes the foolishness them when me see, some near miss, some almost leak when me see. I think people really know the road code. George Elliott saying yes, much safer than 2 or 3 years ago. I think he's talking about crime in this aspect. And Rosemary Murdoch saying yes. Melbu says no. Too many accidents. Roy Lawrence also saying no. Wesley Marvin saying no. Shawnee Reynolds, you have some busmen and taximen on the road. I swear is them make Jesus whip. Them drive bad. Me said the other day me take one public transportation and like, you know, when people say your heart reach your mouth, or you the way how you feel, if you feel like your heart reach your mouth, that's what I felt. Like when I came out in one piece, I said thank you God, because some things where the man go on with on the road and him a cuss and a go on, but you know, like the arrogance, it just came out. Like some near death experience go on the road, man. On a daily basis, I don't know what these motorists are thinking, what they're doing, what they're going through. But when you go on the road and you reach back in, you have to just you have to just tell God thanks. Because I can say, for me, I can comment on this public opinion. I don't necessarily feel safe when I'm driving. Because like somebody said, you have to be driving for yourself and you have to be driving for others, because you don't know what are going up there. So yeah, let me see. Robert Rangers saying with them moms, yeah, and they wanna move pro box them. No sir. And for those of you who don't know who them classify as moms, the woman they will drive the underfit. Yeah, women who drive Honda Fit, they classify them as moms. I hear you. Okay. Willie Ryan Wilson on our Instagram platform is saying he does not feel safe on the nation's roads. Absolutely not. Sometimes you're doing your absolute best to drive safely, but there's always that pro box or some other vehicle driving recklessly. Sometimes I just avoid driving if I can. And I hear many people say that, you know. But the convenience of it all, you know. D. Bardley is saying no, between the road hogs and the extortionist traffic police, I do not feel safe. Wow. Graham Jervis on X saying yes, he feels safe. When you practice defensive driving, you know, them people have a next level of driving with them taking, honestly to God. The public opinion question this evening: do you feel safe on the nation's roads given how many accidents we've seen? Let me see if I can get in a few more from our YouTubers. Let me see. I see people still commenting, still laughing about the competition, NNN's quiz competition. All right, so here's a comment from Jackie. Jackie's saying that they're just lawless. Yeah, pure lawlessness a go on the road. Kerry K said the buying of license, the backdoor deal, something there, the buying of license. Yeah, wow. Let me see if I can get in a few more. Curtis Latibo there. No, you may see a driver BMW the other day. No, it wasn't me. Thank you so much, Jerry Max. Let me see. Too many people buy license. Yeah, too many people buy them license. I mean, I don't know when that will stop, because if you have people infiltrating the system, yeah. Let me see if I can get in some more. Kerry is saying, I remember driving from New Kingston to Crossroads on Old Hope Road before you reach St. Joseph's Teachers College. The taximan saying I should smile up as if him want me to go in upwardly, go in the upwardly traffic. Yeah, the oncoming traffic, some of them want you come out of the lane where you there enough for them so that them can pass and go round. Some of them blow them on, beep behind you. You know what me do? Me no look pan them because anything lick my back at them wrong. All right, thank you guys so much for participating in Public Opinion. The business report, may I beg you, please, before we get to that, please drive safe. Yeah, as safe as you possibly can. Open an item on the road, especially at night. Yeah, and just drive safe. Robert Lewis saying, I don't feel safe. Yeah. Not many of us do on the nation's roads, and that's sad. Thank you so much for participating in Public Opinion. The Business Report is up next.
Public Opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is
6:34.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is
31 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 30 out west in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. Motorists should see a decrease at the pumps in the price of gasoline effective tomorrow. That's Thursday, September 25. And that's according to the latest ex-refinery costs from Petrojam. Now, 90 octane and 80 octane will see a decrease of $2.60 per litre. Automotive diesel fuel will also see a decrease, but of 54 cents per litre. And ultra-low sulfur diesel will go down by 63 cents per litre. Kerosene will see a decrease of 54 cents per litre. Further afield, sales of new homes in the U.S. surged by more than expected last month as builders ramped up discounts to lure buyers sitting on the sidelines. New single-family home sales rose 20.5% in August to an annualized rate of 800,000 units. That's according to the U.S. Census Bureau. It was the fastest pace since early 2022 and well above economists' forecasts, this signaling a burst of activity in a frozen housing market. Analysts said the uptick was propelled by price discounts and other sales incentives from builders. And finally, in the currency markets at the close of trading today, it cost 160 Jamaican dollars and 92 cents to buy the US dollar. It cost 216 Jamaican dollars and 90 cents to buy 1 British pound and 117 Jamaican dollars and 50 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the Business Report. I'm Robianne Williams. But before I go, remember guys, one Robianne tomorrow. Yeah? the defending champion, because everybody have it for say Robianne is the underdog. I'm not going to talk like the others. I do not do that. We are not the same. Yeah? But let's see. Let's see what happens tomorrow, guys. I'm Robianne Williams. Good evening.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from the daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. Enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle in Ocho Rios from $299 per night. Take advantage of this offer today by calling Couples Resorts at 876-632-8200. Conditions apply.
Are you ready for something mega? Spend $6,500 or more before GCT. Drop your entry in the box and you could win a 2025 Hyundai Tucson. It's the Mega Wheels Tour promotion, April 5th to September 28th. Second prize, a $50,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Third prize, a $30,000 shopping spree every month for a year. Brought to you by Hyundai, Redstone, Heineken, True Milk, Grace, Walker's Wood, Downing, CBJ Daiquiri, and Carryburst. Choose Concentrate. Only at Megamart. Locations island-wide. Megamart, best value by far. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
If it's in the public's interest, it's the nation's business during Nationwide at 5. The nation's business.
Not a mercy. This one is very classic, dedicated to all school as well.
If you've ever struggled to pass an exam, then you'll know that students today are under great pressure to get good grades and secure qualification needed to move on to higher education. The problem is that too many students are struggling alone and could really benefit from connecting with hardworking teachers and other bright students in other parts of the country and the region. Join me, Dennis Brooks, this and every Friday evening from 8 to 9, with a repeat on Saturday morning from 8 to 9. For the A-Team, a study group on radio, my team of teachers, students, and experts will break down the syllabus, giving you information, tips, and past paper questions that will help you get top grades in your upcoming exams. Follow us on Facebook Live and on Twitter and be a part of the community. It's the A-Team, Fridays at 8 p.m. with a repeat at 8 o'clock on Saturday morning. It's your free extra class on radio and social media. And it's right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
It's 6:41 and it's now time for the nation's business. My name is Sanjay Lewis. My co-host Ricardo Brooks will join us in a few. Several celebrities and public officials are being cancelled and are facing backlash after sharing controversial comments following the assassination of right-wing influencer and political activist Charlie Kirk. Kirk was killed 2 weeks ago when a single bullet hit him in the head or in the neck while speaking at Utah Valley University. Critics of Kirk have focused on his controversial beliefs. Talk show host Jimmy Kimmel was recently suspended indefinitely after ABC faced pressure over a comment the comedian made. He said the MAGA gang was desperately trying to characterize Charlie Kirk's alleged killer as anything other than one of them. Kimmel also mocked President Donald Trump's reaction to Kirk's fatal shooting. Owner of the network, Disney, said in a statement that it made the decision to suspend production on the show to avoid further inflammatory and also to prevent tension and a situation at an emotional moment for our country, and because we felt some of the comments were ill-timed and thus insensitive. However, a decision was made to reinstate Kimmel shortly after, following scores of users canceling their subscription to Disney+. Users and others have criticized Disney, saying it was hindering free speech. Well, this evening, we want to look at how we balance free speech while criticizing public figures. And we're being joined by a retired professor of community health at the University of the West Indies, that's Brendan Bain, and executive director of Equality for All Foundation, Glenroy Murray. Good evening, gentlemen, and thank you as always.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Let me start with you. Welcome. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Let me start with you, Professor Bain. For those who may not remember, you had an issue which was framed as a free speech issue. Could you just remind our listeners what exactly happened?
Well, the memory is starting to fade because we're talking about 2011, 2012, 2013, and we're now in 2025. But at that time, I submitted an affidavit at the request of a group of churches in the country of Belize. The group of churches were involved in a court case as interested parties in which a gentleman challenged the constitution of Belize, and so it was framed as that gentleman against the Attorney General of Belize, challenging the right of persons who were practicing homosexuals to have the same privileges as everybody else in the society in Belize.
And having submitted that affidavit, what was the response?
Well, I recognized after some time had passed that there were persons who didn't agree with what I had done in submitting my affidavit, and they wrote letters to the Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies asking for my service to the Caribbean HIV/AIDS Regional Training Program, which I directed on behalf of UWI, my service to be cancelled. And eventually I was fired by the university. I was able to take the university to court, and the ruling of the Supreme Court here in Jamaica was that I was wrongfully dismissed.
Mm-hmm. And that's where I want to pick up with you, Glenroy Murray, because in that matter, and of course in the matter of Charlie Kirk, a lot of people say, look, if people speak the truth or their version of the truth, in Professor Bain's case, he would have outlined in his professional judgment what he saw as being the facts, and those who are criticizing Kirk are saying, you know, he has said things that are questionable. And then those people are punished. Where do we strike the balance?
So I think, you know, without trying to litigate the Bain case, I think it's important that we put certain things into context and the impact of the decision in the case. So as Professor Bain has pointed out, he was working at the Caribbean HIV/AIDS Regional Training Institute, and the common consensus at that point around the relationship between criminalization of same-sex intimacy and HIV/AIDS is that criminalization does not help. And so when he, as he stated, provides an affidavit to the churches that essentially says something else, that criminalization is helpful to HIV/AIDS related work rather than harmful, which was a common knowledge at the time, then you have an employee of a body saying something that goes against the position adopted generally by the people in the field and by the very agency itself. And so the implication of the Bain case is that for the first time, a court said, if an employee says something that doesn't necessarily align with an employer's an employing entity's values and visions, that employee gets to still retain their job in a certain kind of way, which has never been happened before in how freedom of expression has worked. Usually when we talk about freedom of expression, we're talking about the state not being able to stop speech. But we have a new constitutional order in Jamaica, and the Bain case kind of suggested that no employer should be able to fire an employee if their views are different from that of not just the employer as a person, but the employing entity in terms of what they represent.
Pause for me, Glenroy. Pause for me, because I hear my listeners thinking, but that sounds reasonable. People should have the right to hold their views and express their views so long as they have in no way brought the institution that they work for into any kind of disrepute. And if Professor Bain, or in the case of what's happening in the United States, if people conscientiously hold these views, why shouldn't they be able to express them?
May I just say something by way of clarification?
Sure.
I made it quite clear in my affidavit that I was not representing the University of the West Indies, but I represented my own views, and the word view really has to be clarified. I wrote from my personal experience, professional experience that is, in which I looked after medically anyone who came to my medical practice. I taught against stigma and discrimination, and I expressed in my affidavit the risks to persons, risk of contracting HIV if you were someone practicing anal intercourse, and the risk of passing HIV on to other people. So I did not speak against the popular view that criminalization worked one way or the other. I did not speak to criminalization in my affidavit.
Okay, thank you, Professor. So right, so the matter of the conscientiously held views, and I'm summing it up that way. If people, personally, genuinely, and sincerely hold their views, why shouldn't they be able to express them?
That's not what I'm suggesting at all. I was just contextualizing the implications of that, because let's be honest, that has never happened in the history of the world in terms of how we interact with freedom of expression, certainly not in America, where they have the power to, for example, terminate people at will for the views that might not align with the values, quote-unquote, of a company. To use a very simple example, if you are a Christian school, a Christian private school, you might not necessarily think that somebody who is Muslim and espouses strong Muslim values align with your private school, and that you might not think that person should be a principal. Whether or not that is right or wrong or amounts to discrimination is one thing, but the reality is that's how it's always worked. Employers have always been able to say, if you are a front-facing representative of my company and you say things that I don't necessarily agree with, you can be terminated. I don't necessarily agree with that, but that has been the state of play for a very long time. And so it's kind of interesting now that as those types of, depending on what the issues that we're talking about, after we've raved against cancel culture for years about the dangers of cancel culture and people being able to freely express anything, that in this incident, in this tragedy that has happened, that the voices are kind of shifting to the other side. I think it's been very instructive watching all of this play out, and how freedom of expression is leveraged in one way, but for other things, freedom of expression is not necessarily used.
And I think that's exactly the point, Glenroy. And so, Professor, what I've been grappling with is the balance. Where do we come down? Where can that balance be struck? Or is it that there can be no balance?
I think that when it comes to freedom of expression, you have to decide what the line is from very early on. I'm fully fine with the view that even an employer still has some limits about how they try to control how an individual expresses their different values. But I think it's important, especially as the Caribbean has been one of the best places for freedom of expression, and a lot of the recent judgments in this region have upheld the freedom of expression as not just being limited to views, but different forms of expression in terms of also dress. But yet, we have a country where if you don't dress a particular way or express a particular way. When you look at public schools, you might have certain reactions. And I don't think we've been clear about how we truly value freedom of expression. I think we use it when it's beneficial to an argument that we favor, and that's why we keep coming back to these kind of difficult situations. Because if you truly believe in freedom of expression, then our willingness to constrain expression we don't like, not necessarily just political views and religious views, but expression in different forms as the law recognizes, whether it is dance, whether it is music, whether it is dress, then what do we really believe?
Mm-hmm. And Prof, how do we differentiate between the criticism that is fair comment and speech that crosses into hate speech or incitement, especially when directed at public figures?
I have been asking myself recently where the definition of hate speech came from. I mean, it seems to me as I listen through the mass media and a little bit social media that the phrase hate speech is something that seems to be talk that is directed at people, but I'm not even sure because it's what a person says because it may seem to be targeted or directed at somebody else. I don't know. I mean, I am not aware of any definition of hate speech in Jamaica. Are you?
No, I'm not.
Because we don't have
sometimes
we don't have hate speech laws here.
Yeah, we bring across a phrase that seems to be utilized in certain quarters outside of our culture. And if we're not careful, we transfer it and we start to own it and use it in our local culture. And I don't have a definition of hate speech.
Glenroy, let me hear you on that same one.
So yeah, we don't have hate speech legislation, and I myself am a bit careful when I think about how those kinds of laws tend to be implemented in other places. But I think we can recognize as a society that there is language that can be harmful. I mean, we are a country that criminalizes obscenities and obscene language. And so from that starting point, we can also recognize that words that can be said can cause all types of harm. And if we're in this age where we talk about mental health and the importance of being mindful of what we say to each other and how it can cause all sorts of harm, then we can acknowledge that there's some words that cannot just cause damage, but that can incite negative feelings leading up to violence towards specific groups of people.
And spread hate, also incite discrimination, promotes hostility.
All of that. And so, yeah, we have to grapple with what is our position on that? What is there a policy position that we need to take, or is it a more social set of interventions that are necessary to address those issues?
But how do we do that, Glenroy, when we protect freedom of religion in the Constitution, and then when you take up any religious text, you might find passages which say very clearly that if someone does X with X, then shall be put to death without fail, or some variation of that kind of language. And there are people, and people of good faith, who believe these things because it's what their religion teaches. Do we simply say they are hateful for believing it?
I don't get too bothered by what people believe, and I don't think the law has any business dictating what people should believe or shouldn't believe. But in my experience in trying to shift minds and hearts and improving services to different communities, what I recognize is that a lot of people are able to have certain beliefs but still help others. The classic example, many people who go to hospitals in the A&E sections are there because they've committed violent crimes. And so the same biblical passages that speak about, who should be stoned to death also talk about thou shalt not kill. So does the Christian nurse reserve the right not to save that life? but then there was a Hippocratic oath that was taken, for example. And so, obviously, when we talk about hate speech, we're talking about, I think, what we should be focusing on is how are these beliefs and ideas deployed to deny access to services and to deny peace of mind in certain public spaces to others. Not necessarily somebody sharing their honestly held biblical view of what others should be like. But of course, there's a limit to that, because nobody can be harassing me trying to share their beliefs when I'm not interested in hearing it, you know? So I think it's about balance. It's a simple balance of do unto others and how we replicate that in law and policy.
Mm-hmm. And let's turn to the matter of social media, because social media has amplified voices but also intensified attacks on different groups, leaders, etc. How has this shaped Jamaica's culture of when you talk about the politics, and not only politics but more generally, Glenroy? And do you see risks for democracy if speech is curbed too tightly?
I definitely see risks to democracy if speech is curbed too tight, and I definitely think, I mean, I have very off-color views about what happens online that I won't share here, but I genuinely think that social media, unfortunately, has made us dehumanize each other in how we engage in conversation. It has us thinking that we essentially can say anything to anyone without any regard for their humanity, including our leaders. And sometimes I'm deeply disappointed by how conversations are had online. I don't know, though, what if the answer is in any type of legal response or policy response. I think in a lot of ways, social media caught us, a lot of us, by surprise, and we still, I don't know if we've worked out how are we preparing our societies to use it in ways that are responsible, ethical, and respectful. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot of, I would say, insensitive and harmful and sometimes hateful narratives and misinformation and all of those things being, widespread on social media, because I don't think we've figured out how to handle all of that.
Yes, I agree with what Glenroy is saying. I think that social media, although it has existed and is developing and growing only in recent years, I think that the ground rules were not published when the facilities were first made available, and some people don't know the boundaries that they should employ in social media.
Mm-hmm. And Professor Bain, can I hear you on the earlier point of where we draw the line where religious texts may recommend or suggest things that are incompatible with a modern understanding of human rights? What should people of faith do in situations like those?
I wish we had a longer time to have this kind of discussion, because I went to medical school as a practicing Christian, and the curriculum that I experienced in medical school, both at undergraduate and at specialist level, did not address the practice of a person's faith in relation to one's job. And I would, over the years, draw Christian principles in my approach to attending to patients. And that's what I did for more than 30 years when AIDS broke. And initially I was the only person who had specialist training in infectious diseases at the University Hospital. And I led teaching programs, first in Jamaica and then across the Caribbean. That's what the Caribbean HIV/AIDS Regional Training Network was. And I, in my private practice and in my public practice, I never discriminated. For over 30 years, I never turned anyone away because they had put themselves at risk in contracting AIDS, and but how does one balance one's Christian teaching one's appreciation of biology, and meeting someone who has a different perspective and a different practice. That has been a challenge for me over many years.
Hold it there for us. I have to take a quick time signal. We'll be right back.
Every time you a link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Do it for your best life. The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is...
It's 3 minutes after 7. We're talking free speech in the modern era. How far should this right to freedom of expression go? We have with us retired Professor of Community Health at the University of the West Indies, Brendan Bain, and the Executive Director of Equality for All Foundation, Glenroy Murray. Before the break, Professor Bain, you said it has been a challenge for you to balance the Christian perspective against your professional training and your duties professionally. So over the years, did you ever find a way to come down on a side that, ultimately you felt comfortable with?
Well, if I can summarize in a nutshell fashion, I open my practice to anyone. Initially, the word in the mass media was that AIDS was a homosexual disease. What we found in Jamaica, our first 12 cases, six of them all were in men, and 6 of the men said, yes, I have had intimate relations with other men. The other 6 said, no, I've never had any intimate relations with another man, but I have paid for sex from prostitutes. And when we coned it down, all 6 at that time had interacted with prostitutes in one small area of the United States and had come back to Jamaica. So we started at that point. Eventually, women came into the picture, children came into the picture. And what we realized was that there were a number of factors that were creating a high relative risk of HIV and other sexually transmitted infections and cancers in affected persons. I tried to make that point in my affidavit to the court in Belize. Some of the factors which interacted with each other included choosing a sexual partner whose sexual history you did not know, being part of a sexual network, including having multiple partners and a high rate of changing partners, having unprotected sex, having a repertoire of sexual behaviors that included actions that carried a significant risk, either of causing physical trauma or of allowing contact with fecal material. And those behaviors were not confined to men who were having sex with other men. So we needed to broaden our ideas and our approach to persons who were turning up with AIDS, and we began to understand the HIV side after a few years, So I've said quite a mouthful, but I think it's important not just to think about a label for somebody, but the risk that they may be running because of the choices that they're making in their personal life.
Mm-hmm. And Glenroy, so going forward now, because obviously, as you rightly mentioned, there's sort of been a shift in terms of who gets to do the cancelling. I worry, this is my worry, I worry that people will just no longer engage publicly because it's really just too risky. What do you think that will mean for free speech and free expression going forward?
I actually think we're already halfway where you're worried about, Ricardo. I genuinely think in a lot of ways, the recent election fanfare notwithstanding, a lot of persons have pulled back from public commentary and being involved more publicly in different types of issues and causes that they care about because of how cancel culture, so to speak, has kind of been deployed. I mean, I had my reservations when it was quote unquote my side, deploying it for every little infraction, and because I knew this is where we would be. Because unfortunately, when you have
you all canceled the dancehall artists, didn't you?
Not exactly. That's not necessarily how that works.
Glenroy, people couldn't travel. People lost income.
But yes, sure. But I hope we're not defending music that called for the death of a community.
No, I'm just saying that that was very much cancel culture, though.
Yeah, but in other words, the point is there a space where people can say, because of the views you espouse, I will not support you or spend my money with you? Sure, I think there's a valid space for that, and I think market forces will always shape how people move and move their money around. And if you say something that detracts from what the market wants, then that will be the consequence. And I think certain communities have a right to make those kinds of strategic moves. I think that's one thing. I think, though, what we're seeing now, what we've been seeing for a while, is the minute someone says something that doesn't pass a certain ever-changing smell test, there's a direct rush, not to necessarily not spend money with them, but to make sure that they have no livelihood, which I think it might be similar in outcome, but it's different in practice and what it means. And I think we've gone very far down that road. And I think there has to be a space where we begin to reckon with that without the finger wagging, and understand that all of this is about figuring out how we coexist with each other. And we have to start from the place of at least being prepared to acknowledge that maybe some of these ideas and things we've said, even if they weren't meant to produce harm, did produce harm.
Let me mean that. I want to hear Prof on it also, because some argue that cancel culture has gone too far, while others they're saying it holds people accountable. Where should the balance be struck?
Well, I didn't understand the phrase cancel culture when I was first cancelled. but in reflecting on things in a certain way, what I realize is that some insults turn out to be more hateful than other insults. For example, in our culture, if somebody is dishonest, sometimes they are praised. And they certainly, if somebody calls out to you and calls you a thief on the street, you may wonder, what is that all about? But the other day, I seem to have done something wrong in driving my car, and another motorist called out to me that I was a homosexual.
Oh, wow.
You know, and there was a venom in the way he said it. And it seemed to me as though he was trying to attack me. So if he had called out and said, you see, I don't know if it would have come across from him in the way that he seemed to be wanting it to come across to me. You know, so there are issues in our community that that come into our speech, and that that we need to be wise and careful in terms of how we speak to each other, because we may think that we're speaking to the issue, but it seems to the person that we're speaking about them.
I'm going to close with a passage from Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. She talks about cancel culture, and this part of it is very instructive to me every time I read it. She says, and so we have a generation of young people on social media so terrified of having the wrong opinions that they have robbed themselves of the opportunity to think and to learn and to grow. I have spoken to young people who tell me they are terrified to tweet anything, but they read and reread their tweets because they fear they will be attacked by their own. The assumption of good faith is dead. What matters is not goodness, but the appearance of goodness. We're no longer human beings. We're now angels jostling to out-angel one another. God help us. It is obscene. So, cancel culture, I think those words properly sum it up. And I worry, as I said, Glenroy, about where this is all heading. I really do. Professor Bain, Glenroy Murray, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All the best.
Okay, thank you for having me, and I hope that the conversation has been of some meaning to persons who are listening.
Yes, I did receive some feedback, Professor, that it's an interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It's 13 minutes after 7. We're going to take a break and come back with more.
The NHT has boosted construction loan limits to 11 million for one applicant and up to 23 million for 3 co-applicants. We are building Jamaica.
The time by the office of the Prime Minister is...
Bugs would like me to tell you again. Well, it's changed, I can tell you. It's 14 minutes now after 7.
It's Monday. Get over your blues. Or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The E-Zone is here for you. With the Stinger Honeybee.
And Curry Boy things
from 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM.
We've got your entertainment news.
Then we want to hear your views. Why you say?
Jump in the mix.
Or the hot seat.
Don't miss our brain busters.
Or the crazy giveaways.
Let's talk fashion.
Send us your outfit of the day. Ooh, cutesy. Very demure.
Are you looking for love?
Come on one of our blind dates. Send your request to ezone blinddates@gmail.com. That's ezoneblindates@gmail.com.
And stay tuned for your confessions.
These are my confessions. Share them with us at ezoneconfessions@yahoo.com. I mean, is this planet Earth?
Is it?
I don't know. Let me check. Either way, it's got a buzz.
And a bugger thing.
Ow! Ow!
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We are heading to the United States now. There was a shooting at an immigration facility. 3 people were shot, 2 fatally, by a suspected sniper in Dallas, Texas today. The gunman is also dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Now, the Dallas police say the gunman opened fire from a nearby building at the field office for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. That's ICE.
No ICE employees were injured, but Homeland Security spokesperson, that's Tricia McLaurin, says detainees were hurt. The motive is unclear, but the incident follows a string of attacks on ICE facilities across the U.S. in recent months. ICE says the Dallas facility was targeted less than a month ago when a man walked in with what he claimed was a bomb. More in this report from the BBC.
There's been a deadly gun attack at an immigration centre in the US city of Dallas. Officials say a gunman opened fire at the Texas facility before killing himself. The incident follows a string of attacks on such facilities across the US in recent months. Well, let's cross live now and speak to our North America correspondent, Nomia Iqbal. And Nomia, what more do we know?
Well, the FBI has said that on the casings of the bullets, there were anti-government messages. But despite the FBI saying that, officials are saying they don't know the exact motive. There was some confusion earlier, Mariam. So the Department of Homeland Security has given an update. They say that apart from the gunman who died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, there were 3 other victims, 2 detainees at ICE were killed and another's in a critical condition in hospital. And just to remind, ICE is the Immigration and Customs Enforcement. It's the US federal agency primarily responsible for enforcing US immigration laws. There's a lot of controversy around their tactics at the moment, and it's led to many politicians, particularly on the right, the Republicans, saying that there needs to be a toning down of the temperature when it comes to ICE. But as I say, there hasn't been any, we don't know yet exactly what the motive is of the shooter.
And we were talking, weren't we, about there being a spate of these kind of incidents as well?
Well, this facility actually, back in July, there was an incident where a man was arrested for trying to go in with. Well, he said that he had, just looking at the details now, that he had tried to bomb the facility, and 10 people have been charged in connection with that. But overall, ICE, as I say, has been a very controversial agency in this country. The ICE agents often are, they cover up, they cover their faces. We've seen that in DC. They say to protect their identities. And they have been responsible for carrying out this really aggressive plan of Donald Trump to carry out mass deportations, in many cases targeting people, immigrants who don't have any criminal records. So sort of going back on what Donald Trump had said initially in terms of who he wanted out of the country. And it's created a lot of fear in many immigrant communities. But just to give you some reaction, J.D. Vance, the vice president, and many other members of the Trump administration are saying that there's been this attack, this targeting of law enforcement, particularly on ICE, and it must stop. But just to reiterate, we don't know as of yet what the actual motive was of the shooter.
Nomia, thank you very much.
That report there from the BBC. Boy, what can you say about the United States?
Yeah, never dull day.
Boy, I just hope they get through it. Yeah, they get through it and find a way to resolve their, I suppose it's like a social civil war.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hope they resolve it. We're going to take your calls now. 630. Oh no, Boog's favorite segment first. But after Boog's favorite segment, we're going to take your calls. 630-937-124, 618-8255. The Watchman, then your calls.
The Watchman. Exploring issues shaping our society, government, and business. Provocative, unconventional. Dr. Henley Morgan is The Watchman.
Good evening. Lessons for the nation from our athletes. Our athletes have returned from the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo, Japan, with a treasure trove of medals. In a Bill Johnson Gleaner commissioned poll, the majority, 39%, ranked sports as Jamaica's greatest achievement since independence. Jamaican international jurist Patrick Robinson authored a wonderful little book titled Jamaican Athletics, a Model for the World, in which she chronicles the amazing feats of Jamaican athletes in the sporting arenas of the world since 1948. The author observes that no other area of endeavor in Jamaica, whether in the public or private sector, has been as successful as track and field athletics in consistently producing a product of international standard. He asks whether the attributes and practices in track and field athletics can be emulated and used to advantage in other areas of national life. One sees in our athletes confidence born of knowing one's mission and purpose in life, relentless pursuit of excellence in developing one's natural talent and gifts in line with one's mission and purpose, unwavering courage and perseverance in both preparation and execution, ability to bounce back from disappointments and defeat. There is also a system and process for unearthing and honing talent and for using limited resources to gain maximum results. Why have we not been able to display the same degree of skill, grit, discipline, and determination in nation building. Why? Two things must be clear to anyone who has carefully studied this country. One, Jamaica has the human and the natural assets to make it one of the most appealing places on earth to live, work, raise families, and do business. Two, we have squandered the assets so that today there is not a Jamaican alive who could truly say that as a country or a people, we are living near our potential. Until we face the problems holding back progress of the country and take meaningful action to address the underlying causes, Jamaica will remain a country known for its athletic prowess, producing sports icons who create wealth for themselves, but with an economy that fails to increase the wealth of the nation and of the Jamaican people. There is plenty of blame to go around, but one thing is undeniable. Jamaica suffers from an insufficiency of leadership at every level. Politics, in particular, have let down Jamaica. Maybe instead of general elections, there should be a competition similar to the Olympics to determine which ones among our political leaders get gold, silver, bronze, or no medal. Going to the polls every 5 years has not since independence produced gold medal winning performance by those providing political leadership. Think on these things.
Produced by Agency for Inner City Renewal, AIR, and recorded in the Jamming Studio Trenchtown, a breath of fresh air bringing change to the inner city.
Escape to Idle a While in a grill where sand and serenity meet. Visit idleawhile.com or call 876-957-3302. Idle a While and stay a while.
We're taking your calls now, 630-9371 to 4618-8255. I'm Ricardo Brooks. He's Sanjay Lewis. Omalo is up first.
Yeah, good evening, Ricardo.
Hey,
good evening, Sanjay. Ricardo, I called you about this young man that died in Carolina.
Yes.
And disturbingly, last night I came across a video that I watched. Yeah, on social media. And it hurt my feeling. Ricardo, last night I didn't even know how I was going to sleep. For real, because it is very troubling to me. And for someone that really backs the Jamaican police force, would see the police in the street and tell them, oh, I thank them for their service and all this. I never pass a police without telling them thanks for their service. When the blue, we stand with the blue movement, I was the one that orchestrated and started that thing. And to see what I'm seeing, Ricardo, it leaves a lot of troubling questions in my mind that I think I want to put out there so that the media also could ask when they get a chance to talk to the police commissioner. When this young man came to the door, Ricardo, why in the training of the Jamaican police, the constabulary force, they never put him against the wall, search his body, put him in an handcuff to say that we are handcuffing you because we have a search warrant to search the place. We are detaining you at this moment until the search is complete. And it's for our safety and your safety. So we will place you in an handcuff until the search is over with.
Well, first of all, Omalo, I'd want us to be careful because what you saw was him headed to the door and going outside or being
and putting his hand up in the air.
Right, but you do not know what happened after that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying,
yes.
He wasn't in an handcuff because you couldn't have said you shoot someone picking up a gun in an handcuff. I don't see how that could be logical.
Okay, all right.
So I am asking, if that was so, then explain that to the Jamaican people.
So you're saying the question of whether and how and to what extent he was restrained?
He was restrained.
Yes, okay.
Because you are thinking about, this is how we, as someone thinking and saying we are protecting the police safety and also the citizens' safety. We are going to use measures that we know we have a safe environment operating in. So we are going to place you in an handcuff until the search is over. These are questions need to be answered. How is it that a policeman secure the environment knowing that he is protecting himself along with the citizen of Jamaica so that he can carry out his duty and come back to the Jamaican people and saying that I have preserved life and liberty and property? These are things that we as thinkers, these are things that we as Jamaicans must be saying that we are at 2025 and moving toward the future, trying to build a better Jamaica. How do we do things better? So we must ask these type of questions. How is it that you are doing things so that we can approve that you are doing the best to preserve life here in Jamaica?
All right, Tomalo, hear you. Alric, good evening.
Good evening, man. Good evening. Who is your co-host?
Sanjay.
Is it Sanjay?
Oh, so, yeah, but Sanjay's neck out, but he's not there with us now.
All right. Omalo is right, but there's something I want to add to that. Where are the body cams, man? I want you to add that question to Dr. Chang and the Commissioner of Police. Why is it taking so long to get the body cam, Ricardo? Why?
Yeah. The most recent update we've had from the commissioner was in May. I went back to check. He said that the procurement process at that time was nearing completion for 1,000.
Almost ago October.
Right, but you know,
it's a police matter, so you can't say anything. But Tomalo is right, you know. First of all, they are saying that his name was not on the warrant, right? That is what they told you?
Yes.
All right, you come to my house. You get a search warrant from my house. Fine, no problem with that. But if my name is not on the warrant, because more than one person live here, but you are afraid because of your own safety, and you take me outside, you will say, handcuff me, man. Don't put me one side with an officer and do your search. My name not there on the warrant. Handcuff me. I think they would have been in their legal right. This one get to me. And we need the body cams, Ricardo. We cannot go around working without them. People are giving them their support, including me. Omala just said it. But we need to see where they are doing what they are supposed to do, boss man.
Yes.
We're taking too long to get the cams, man. So I would like you to ask the commissioner and Dr. Chang, where are they? How far are they in the negotiations to get them? We need them.
All right, Alric, hear you. Reasonable call. Carl, good evening.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening. Ricardo, I think the caucus of the JLP come tomorrow in St. Catherine must not sit with the mayor. They must walk out and let him there. It alleged that the mayor for St. Catherine have hit one of our beautiful lady and break her glasses. Alleged. The mayor, if we leave this Friday, will be 2 weeks now since the mayor been charged. The mayor must step aside and go get his name clear. And the JLP caucus there must not sit with him, must walk out tomorrow. Once the meeting called to order, they must walk out and left him. They must not have no meeting with a man who alleged to have slapped a lady in his face. It's time comes to have some discipline and some respect for ladies in Jamaica. Time come. That's what time come for the PMP them. The top slap ladies. Time come. So they must not sit with him tomorrow. Anyhow, Mr. Dan Anderson, I notice him that he is very quiet. Dan Anderson tell PMP, say, they must lead in 2 weeks before election by 0.1 or 0.2%. And the other week before election, Dan Anderson said that the PMP have bound to take the election. I think market research should have called Dan Anderson and don't have any more contract. Dan Anderson been fooling the Jamaica people for years now.
No.
Misleading them.
Carl, no.
All right. You want me to take you why I said that?
No, I don't want you to tell me why you said it. I don't want you to continue down this line of argument at all.
Okay, all right. Anyhow, I will move back to St. Catherine. So you will agree with me that a man who alleged to have slapped one of our beautiful lady and breaking glasses don't supposed to sit inside the parish council to lead it tomorrow as the mayor. You will agree with me with that then?
It's a matter for the councillors.
So you will agree with me then that the JLP should walk out, left him there?
It's a matter for the JLP caucus.
All right. You remember what happened? If you notice, these people, these mayors and things have a... See to say them have... No, the PMP, see to say Jamaica have will to them. Have will to them. Them birthright upon Jamaica surfeit ticket. So, them alone must lead Jamaica out. The key and them birthright upon the documents for Jamaica. Did you see what happened up into Mandeville? The PMP allow him to be still there. You look what happened into St. Thomas. The PMP allow him to be still there when time. The legal right of a government send people to go there to survey the land and him stop it. What is happening to these PMP or what? Jamaica's birth certificate, their name put on it, so them alone to lead. In Ricardo?
Continue. I'm listening to you, Carl.
Me don't like to see that document says see if a PMP name right on the birth certificate for Jamaica. I don't feel it's only them alone to lead. And to me, it's only that Mr. Buchanan is going to waste the court time to want to take the Prime Minister to court. And if what Mr. Buchanan is doing, let me just say somebody who sit on the board, who sit in the board, tell out the PMP them right there, so then if they, cause the PMP them I walk around and say, the election have been stolen from them. I mean to say the PMP them will sit on the board, sell out the election then. Because people from the PMP sit on the board and them a walk and tell everybody say election thief from them. So who was there supposed to have them interest? You could have said, and they said the Anki Panky went on then. That's a Ricardo?
No, how you forming the conclusion here? The claims are entirely baseless, so you don't need to try to justify the claims. They are entirely baseless, without merit. So you don't need to try to make up a justification for them.
So the merit is that the birth certificate where their name is on for Jamaica, they want it. So end it. Hold on, I'm going to let you know. Did you remember one statement where former chairman for life, Bobby Pickersgill, said, we always believe that it is best for us to form the administration. So anything that will lead us or cause us to be in office, we regard it as in the best interest of the party and the best interest of the country. anything for me doesn't exist nothing.
All right, Carl. Thanks for the call. 630-937-124, 618-8255. Miss May, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo. How you doing?
Ricardo, I'm doing very well. How about you?
I am okay. You know, I try to wrap my fingers around what's happening at, what is it, Cherry Tree Lane?
Cherry Tree Lane, yes.
It's really ridiculous, and I'm wondering if it's a set-up thing, because if this young man came out with his hand up in the air, why did they not handcuff him and search the place and whatever? It sounds fishy. It's like a set-up thing, and just as the country is enjoying such a good, reduction in murder, the police are starving themselves, shooting themselves in the foot. Huh? I am amazed. I just can't get it, and I hope something come out of it, because this is really ridiculous. We don't want to go back where we're coming from in the 80s and 90s. The police is doing a good job, and I don't know if something not right in this one, because there's no justification in so much police go to that place, that one home to carry out search. It's ridiculous. Another thing now with this mayor at Spanish Town, I remember with George Wright's situation, he wasn't charged. Yet the civil society and everybody just came down on this man and behaving like this, and this mayor tried and nothing. What is going on? There is too much bias and it don't look good, and they need to do the right thing. I'm hurrying on. I'm just thanking and praising God that I prayed so much for my Prime Minister. Because, Ricardo, I am not a die-hearted anybody.
Yes.
I vote on issues.
Mm-hmm.
And any party in power doing the right thing, I am going to want them to be in power. Until they start doing nonsense, then you vote them out.
Yes.
This government is doing so much. Why would anybody want to change this government? But, it would be nonsensical. And I am so thankful that all the mud that they're slinging and this scandal that they scandalize this man, he came out just like Daniel. Those men do everything to destroy Daniel and throw him in this lion den. He came out without a scratch. And those who conspired to throw him in there, only unfortunately that their wife and children have to suffer that fate, but all of them die. The tree he put in the fire, the same thing. And that was what they're doing to Andrew Holness. But thanks be to God, he came out on top, and may he continue to do the good work that he is doing. Have a good night. Thanks for listening to me.
No problem, Miss May. Have a good night, too. Bobby, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Sandra.
Good evening, Bobby.
Yes, I was listening to the conversation with you and Prof and so on. It was good, but we have to be mindful of the freedom of speech, especially here in Jamaica. Some people have freedom of speech and them find themselves before the court for damages and so on. I am so happy to see that JUTC will open a route from Montego Bay to Kingston. Now people can no longer depend on the executive bus there. What you call it again? Hutsford Express.
Mm-hmm.
Because trust me, we will all travel in style from one city to the other city under the flag of prosperity. Right.
It's a welcome addition, Bobby, because I've always said that the JUTC should serve the entire country. And I'm happy to see that we are finally reaching somewhere where we can say it's not only serving the KMTR, but, the wider populace in the country.
Exactly. And to be honest, people don't like when I talk about this, But you see, Dr. Andrew Michael Holness and Minister Darrell Vaz, make I tell you something, man. This administration should go in history and get a worldwide award for the way how they are leading this economy. We have never seen this economy governed like this in the history of my life here in Jamaica, right? And the final thing I would like to say, I am going to take a swipe now at the media. I remember, and I know Ricardo is setting out to blast me, but make I take a swipe now.
Set out for blast, I don't even know what you're going to say.
I remember the incident with George Wright many years ago. Nobody know if it was George Wright was on that video, beating that lady. And every media house come down and the man tell the man say him to retire, he must resign, he must step aside, he must. And look here, the police haven't get a report from nobody, from the lady and so on. People was only assuming if it was George Wright. And what really happened now, the gentleman step aside, and now we have the mayor, right? And now we have the mayor.
Who stepped aside?
Huh?
Who stepped aside?
No. George Wright stepped aside.
From what?
And become an independent person.
Bobby,
right?
Bobby, please. Bobby.
Huh? Come on. Bobby,
yes.
don't go there, Bobby.
Stop going like me ban with Muma Gana Market. Stop.
Yes, no. He
Bobby,
stepped aside and become an independent person.
Bobby, stop going like me ban when my mother Gana Market and ban back a cow.
No, Ricardo,
Bobby.
You know better.
Bobby.
You know better,
Bobby.
Ricardo.
George Wright caucused with the JLP the entire time he was a so-called independent. The entire time.
I know, Ricardo, I know you would have said it, right? And nobody coming down now and me Scott and ask him to step aside.
No, you clearly have not heard me.
Huh?
You clearly have not heard me. I have said I have said very clearly that the exact principles should apply, and I am deeply disappointed and disheartened that civil society, in large part, almost uniformly, they have been silent about this matter. It is shameful, and I'll say it again since you never hear, and it is disgraceful. I have said that very clearly.
Okay,
well, in fact, I go further. In fact, you are correct. Despite Mr. Wright not confirming or denying, which I maintain that he should have, the truth is the gravity of this situation is far worse because a criminal charge has been laid. So if the principles that were being applied to George Wright are to be fairly applied, then yes, Mr. Scott should step aside until such time as he's able to prove that he's innocent of the accusation and the charge. I have said that, Bobby, and I believe that. It is shameful that civil society has chosen. I can't think of the justification. It just don't make any sense to me. I've said that. But that don't mean Judge Wright should not have said one way or the other whether he was the man on the video. And don't you come here come try take me for idiot but Judge Wright stepped aside.
Well, the fact is he wasn't on the JLP side,
Yeah, you know. All right, Bobby.
Yes, he wasn't there. Right? You see, and I should say to you, Ricardo, I have never heard you until now, but we are still friends.
No, and I've said it several times.
Okay, then you see, and trust me, we are still friends, and I'm saying to Mayor Scott tonight, step aside, sir, until your case is over. Okay, then?
All right, Bobby.
All right, Bobby.
Judge?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, George.
Good night.
Good night.
It is my understanding, you see, that whenever a councillor, somebody who has elected as a councillor, decide to run as an MP instead now, it's my understanding that that councillor would have to resign from the council in order to go and run as an MP. Do you know of that rule?
Give me that again.
If someone is a councillor, he's a sitting councillor.
Yes.
And he decided to move up
as an MP, yes,
and go and run for if there's a vacancy to run as an MP now,
yes,
shouldn't he resign or retire?
George, thank you for bringing it back to my attention, because we did say we were going to check in the newsroom. We weren't quite clear. I think we were coming down on the side that I think the person should vacate the councillor seat when they were nominated. I think but we need to check it. But thank you for reminding me.
I know that is a fact, because so I'm wondering how come Mayor Scott go and run as for a post of an MP, lose and come back in the mayorship. He should have resigned from before, so that if he whether he win or lose, he cannot come back as a mayor, So they should check
if my memory serves me correct, though, they can remain as a sitting councillor and run as the MP, run for the position of MP. If they are successful, then they have to resign as councillor, if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah. We said we would check in the newsroom. So
I think it's the other way around.
But I think what Sanjay is saying makes sense, because if you are running, what would be the justification for stepping aside?
Well, you are out. There's a chance that you have to take.
Yeah. Let me check. I'll check.
Yeah,
Thank
man.
you for
Check it out.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Thanks, George. Michael, good evening.
There are only certain positions, Ricardo, under ROPA where they have to resign before they contest the election, but the councillor is not one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael.
Hi, good evening, sir. How are you, sir?
Hey, Michael.
Hello, Michael.
How are the Blue Mountains?
Yes, sir. We're up here, I listen to both of you,
Yeah, get rain up there?
Yeah, so we get rain up here.
So it's nice and cool.
Nice and cool, but the road is extra bad, man.
Oh, okay, rain no go fall and make it worse.
Yeah, because we don't know where them are deal with the road from Guava Ridge to Flams. It is extra bad, when I tell you.
Yes. And how the coffee?
Well, so the coffee are going, but right now I don't even know if a climate change or what, but yeah, more light coffee more than ready, more than this same one,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much you get now for the bag of coffee?
Well, I 10 or 11,000 bucks from up here right now,
Oh, okay. How much you say you want again?
You want over 20, 25.
Oh, yeah, say to me.
You see what's going on? Everything up there for the coffee is expensive, like fertilizer, spray, labor is in the field.
Oh, okay. So the input's expensive.
Yeah.
I get you.
But I don't know what happened, but them just don't want them make over 20% of the coffee let out, not 20, 80%,
Mm-hmm.
Of the Blue Mountain coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. So I don't know what will work on it, but may I tell you, say, if they don't step up the price, they will work out, then don't have no Blue Mountain coffee, because the youth, them will see in the coffee, most of them come out of it,
All right, Michael, hear you. Thanks for the call. I don't know that he can get the 20,000, although, Michael, but
no,
hear you.
Not going to get it at all.
Faithful.
Good afternoon, Sanjay.
Hello, Faithful.
Mr. Lewis. Ricardo, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good evening. Yeah, let me start by bigging up a very loyal listen to your station. My auntie and two cousins were living in Amwak. I'm very regular listening to your program.
All right. Hello, auntie and cousin in Amwak.
So tell them name now, I'm Faithful, so at least we know.
Ruby Roberts.
Hello, Miss Ruby.
Hello, Miss Ruby. Thank you for your company.
Yeah, man, they know how the program, everybody, they are very ardent listener. Yes, I have a problem. I don't know if I use a problem, but I'm trouble with Mr. Small utterance.
Mr. Small.
I would agree with Carl. Mr. Small.
That's Hugh Small?
Hugh Small, yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I would agree with Carl when especially with this white man thing and all this thing, but I was agreeing with Carl the other day. Before, I think he was always a disruptor in the community meeting, in the community. And he always, he made the declaration that they should not go no further with the constitutional thing until after election. And it is known that the constitution of the take part.
Sorry, Faithful. Bugs, PB session for Sanjay. Bugs? PB session for Sanjay. Yes. Yes, Faithful.
Right. And it's always known that it have to be between the PMP and JLP. And I am one is because he never get his wish that PMP did not win. Now he's come out and saying that it should be out of all politicians. And he'll have to wonder in whose interest is he advocating for?
Hugh Small?
Yeah. He's the advocate. He's saying that no politician, either PP nor JP should be a part of no committee that farm. And if no politician is not involved in it, it's not going to go through. Like, I don't think.
Well, he didn't say involved. He said leading it.
But it have to be led by a politician. Because that's what
well, I think what he means is that the deliberations, the committee at the committee level, when those deliberations are made, the submission is then made to Parliament. Of course, we know the bill has to be passed by the Parliament, but he's talking at the committee level. And at the committee of Parliament, that is.
He's only saying that because he did not get his wishes during the election.
I don't know about that. No, man, I don't think so, Faithful.
He was advocating that
because in the past when we've tried this constitutional reform,
right?
I don't think our government minister led it. I think
government was always involved.
Yes, you see, but involved. Hold on, but that's what I'm saying. So you have to be clear on what he's saying. He's not saying involved. He's saying lead, as in be the chair. That's what he said. And the previous effort before this most recent one was Justice Carr, I think, and Dr. Lloyd Barnett. They were the chair.
Lloyd Barnett, yeah.
So he never said they shouldn't be involved. He said to chair.
And you can understand why he would say that also, Faithful, right? If you have to take the politics out of it also. Eh?
But it cannot go through without politics.
Yeah, but no. Remember, hold on. No, but Sanjay just explained something to you, which I think is important, because the committee, if you appoint a committee, would have to submit a report, which goes to the cabinet. The cabinet would then consider the report. The cabinet made up of politicians. And then that report will be sent to the Parliament. And then the Parliament would have to establish a select committee or joint select committee to consider the report. And then the parliamentarians can either accept or reject what is in the report. So I don't want you to understand him to be saying that politicians will have no role. As Sanjay said, that's not possible. They will have to have the final say. The question is whether in the initial deliberation and taking submissions from the public, a politician should chair that process. That is the question.
Either way.
You don't agree with him?
No.
All right.
Either
Fair.
way.
That's fair.
Either way, I find Mr. Small as a very disruptive person.
All right. Hear you.
When they have the Constitution Committee, most time and not, he absent. And even though he say he is independent, he always try to side with the PMP. So I don't say the independent. And he only talking like this because he didn't get his wishes.
I hear you. All right, Faithful. Thanks for the call. The local government minister, Desmond McKenzie, has advised us that no, you do not need to resign as a councillor to run for member of parliament. Yeah, so there you have it. You don't have to resign. So Norman Scott on that front is in good standing. So too, because I saw people saying Donovan Mitchell as well in where is it? Mandeville. By the way, did you see Did you see him return to the council, the corporation in Manchester, and say the people thinks that he'd be a better mayor?
Oh, really?
I know the mayor shame bad.
Remember,
because
when he
in the farewell.
One of the councillor indicated that she know that she's not going to return.
Yes, and people get up and say, "Oh, I'm going to make one excellent MP." He's shame. Good evening to MP Rhoda Moy Crawford. What a woman! What a feat! You know, I was looking. What a feat she accomplished. I was looking through the results because the EOJ has published the results of the official results now, and you know she won 3 of the 4 divisions.
Yes, I saw that.
Yes, Belfield, of course, Belfield is the one she did not win. So it was a complete turnaround from the local government election.
Yeah. She really went home and she did her homework.
She did. Congratulations, of course, to Rhoda Moy Crawford. She's now State Minister in Education. All right, so that's all the time we have. Thanks to our producer. Funny. You know, politics are something. The man have farewell ceremony, you know. My God. You can't count your chicken before they hatch, you know. You cannot.
I was about to say that.
Cannot. My gosh.
Politics have a way for shaming.
Do you understand? Oh. Man, I plan got a wipe. That's how you go?
Yes.
Bugs. Because yourself, Bugs. Special thanks to all our callers or contributors or sponsors and you, or valued listeners. Thank you all so much. And to the YouTubers, thanks for keeping us company. Remember, tomorrow, 10:30, I have a date with Destiny to dismiss and silence one George Sylvester Davis once and for all. And of course, Robian will be there as well. But,
Ricardo,
you know,
and never 2.
One Ricardo. Never 2. So big up all of my fans. Thank you for the support. I see the messages, I see the DMs, I see the WhatsApp them. Yeah, we'll take it to them.
All
slow
the
and
fans
steady.
And the AC and everything, yeah.
Absolutely. Slow and steady and compose. And the hashtag tomorrow is #1Ricardo. Alright?
And never 2.
Big up on yourself.